Keep line low. The more characters come from inside their house.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. I can see we're just about 11 in the attendance pool. Let's just wait for another 5 minutes. Get the numbers up. Wait to about 15. We're already 12. Then we could just give it a push and start the day with an exciting training session.
That's all he's calling.
Give you in a minute.
Did you get the third one?
We can do competition. Isso. Muito.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'm really excited to have you all on the first day of hackathon. Today is just going to be a training session, and it promises to be a very exciting one. And I hope that we all have our videos up. I think it makes it a bit more, engaging from that visual point of view. So when your facilitator begins the training session, when your facilitators start the training session, you will have that visual experience with you. There are a few things I would like to say before we jump into the training proper. I know that I sent you emails regarding your details. Some of you have complied, some haven't. But before the close of business today, your data will be taken care of as promised, in the email that I sent to all of you on Saturday. So just to give you a quick rundown on what today will entail, we will be starting with a training on business model canvas. We think it's very important because the business model canvas basically gives you some sort of channel towards realizing your value proposition to your customers, because I believe that's why you're all in business. And the person who would be taking you through that session would be Fumi Odushola. She is the director for innovation and strategy at Concept to Market Solutions Limited. That would be for an hour from 11 to 12. And then from 12 to 1, we would have another session on the circular economy model, which is taken by the certified facilitator with the Pan Atlantic University. And then there will be a general mentorship session, which will be led by the CEO of the Nigeria Climate Innovation Center, Bankole Oloruntoba. But I promise to be with you all the way and anchor this session and ensure that it's as exciting as it promises. So I would want to say a few things that I think would probably clear the air. Some of you, I have this feeling, don't understand how the hackathon would run. I want you all to understand that after today's session, you are free to start working on your challenges. And working on your challenges means I want to believe that every venture here that has been selected for the hackathon, has a team of that makes up your venture, your company. So you guys are supposed to actually work on those hackathons together. That's the way it's going to work. So this is what you're going to do from now up until Saturday or Sunday, and then next week we're going to have the first elimination round where you pitch your final solution to the challenge that you've chosen, and you're only allowed to choose the challenges that align with the company that you represent. So the attachment that I sent to you, has all of those information that I'm talking to you about. You should by now know the companies that you represent, and you should by now know the challenges that every company has. So some companies have just one, so it's fine. I know you're like 5 in a team, and you're all working individually on your own with your team, at the back end. So at the end of the day, you will all have different solutions to the same challenge. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'll just give the floor to Fumi Odushola. I think it's about 5 minutes before our time, but it's still okay. So, Fumi, I think I'll just leave it to you and have an interesting session with this amazing entrepreneurs. So, Fumi, you're up.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Adamo. It's a pleasure to be in your company. I'm happy to be taking you through the business model canvas today. I know that a lot of our videos are not on, but if there's a way to probably would use a chat or I don't know if some of the gestures on Zoom are active on your end, where, you could give back or so I'm just going to do a quick introduction, and I know that on Friday, some of the teams did not get to sort of give an introduction about what their business does. So we'll just go through that very quickly. But in going through that, we would get started. So in the process of you talking about your business, I want you to think about where the waste is coming from, what you're going to do with it, and how that is going to generate value. So in your intro, if you could just summarize how that's going to work, what exactly is the waste? What is it that you're doing? Are you just collecting and selling it, or you're going to add value to it? And how are you going to get value for that product? Okay, so if you think about me, there's an echo from somewhere. I hope it's not from me. Okay. So a brief intro about me. I'm not going to run through my journey. That would take a while. But if you recognize any of those logos or brands, then yes, we may have crossed paths at some point. But in summary, what I do now is related to C2M, and C2M is, or concept to market, like Adamu said, is a research company, and our focus is specifically on research for new product development and new market entry. So essentially, we give value to companies by gathering data and doing research work to inform their business decisions. So telling them where to go, what new products to introduce, information about their customers. So yes, essentially that. So this year alone, I know the year just pretty much started, but this year alone, we've done projects in more than 18 states in Nigeria. We've done projects in Chad, we've done projects in Ghana, we've done projects in Benin Republic. At the moment, I'm actually in Liberia, and we're doing a project here, and Sudan as well. So just to give you a sense of how the world is changing and how people are beginning to see that research and having the right information is very powerful. It saves you a lot of money, a lot of time from making mistakes. And then just below are some of the companies that we've recently worked with, and some of those brands you'll be familiar with. So that would be a gist about what I do. It's really just research and data to drive business decisions. Right, so before we jump into what it is that we are doing today, let's see who's online. I know that Kaitani already introduced themselves on Friday. Planet 3R did, Ruminis, Polybrick, Schematic, and Vector Energy. So if you could just use the first 10 minutes across the many other companies, who shall we start with? Let's see. It would be nice if you could do something similar to Inkena, where he's put his name, Inkena Amadi, and then he said Echo. If you could do that with your name, and not just for the session, that would help. Your name and then your company's name. If African Creative is online, can we, oh yeah, you are. African Creative, can you do a quick intro about your business?
Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Jumoke Olowokere from African Creative Sustainable Synergy Hub, in that name. We're a social enterprise company located in Ibadan, and our focus is education and upcycling waste into functional, durable, affordable products. And we've worked with different range of people, and we have furnitures as well. We have product like furnitures. We also have product like upcycling training that we do in primary, secondary, cut across all education sector. We are located in Ibadan.
Fantastic. So if I could summarize, it's really taking materials like materials are recyclable and turning them into fashion pieces. Okay, the noisemakers, please, if you could mute, that would be very helpful, so that we could hear others. All right, up next, Fembabs. Fembabs? Fembabs there? Okay. Waste coin. Yeah, I see you. Waste coin, is that waste cycle?
Yeah, waste coin, please.
Waste coin, right. Daniel, please, you have the floor. Just quickly summarize what it is that you do, what sort of waste that you work with.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for me. My name is Daniel, and I'm the co-founder of WasteCoin. WasteCoin is a pro-environment, pro-recycling tech startup. We basically are a waste collection as a service platform where we are more interested in plastics. We are working on deploying an innovative software that will civically enhance waste collection and promote recycling in our communities. And currently, we are about to start our beta testing in Abuja right now. And we hope we can get to know more about what other people do and see how we can collaborate here. Thank you very much.
So let's break it down quickly. You collect plastic and you do what with it? Do you just sell it to the company? Do you put it down?
Sorry, I can't really hear you clearly.
When you collect the plastics, what do you do with it?
Okay, yes, we connect, we don't actually collect, we connect people to this waste ops. So from our application, we link them up to closest waste recycling ops around them, and they take them there. But via our platform, they get paid.
Okay, all right, noted. So it's an application.
Yes, please.
Are they just
downstairs to withdraw?
Joker, please, if you're not going to participate, could you please mute? You're making noise with your things. All right, let's move on to Alluvia, unique concepts, please. Alluvia? Okay, Vetstock.
Hello, we're here. Alluvia is here.
Okay, hi, please. You can go ahead.
So, okay, can I put on my video?
Sure. Your name just shows GM. So nice to meet you, GM.
Okay, so basically, Alluvia Unique Concept is a waste management company, consultancy training. Basically, we are interested in promoting integrated solid waste systems to achieve circularity. And we identified the major issues that are creating the lacuna in the waste management sector. And we realized that a lot of it stems from inadequate research and implementation of innovative ideas. So our research has shown that we can utilize waste evacuated to yield real life solutions to current environmental issues that are plaguing us, which is what sets us out as a different waste management company in Nigeria.
Okay, so what particular waste do you work with? How do you add value to this?
We work with waste from three main sectors: the commercial waste from markets, schools, shops, and restaurants and eateries. We work with industrial waste. We also work with domestic waste from households, and B2 petty traders. So basically, we have been able to we have a database of knowing exactly the quantity of waste coming out from each sector, both the industrial, the commercial, and the domestic. So the way.
Okay. Right. I think she dropped off, but it will be really helpful if you're really clear about. I know that sometimes you already have an elevator pitch prepared. What is the waste? Which is literally your product. I mean, we're calling it waste, but the waste is your product. What is your product? How do you add value to this product? And just those two would really help. I mean, we're already sort of doing the business model exercise. That has to be very clear in your mind. What is your product? Okay, any of the companies have not come. If anyone wants to go quickly. AgriMax, is AgriMax online?
All right, yes, I'm online. Good morning, everyone.
Yes.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, Ogunshare, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
All right, I'm Babatunde Ogunshare. I'm the co-founder of AgriMax. All right, so what we do basically at AgriMax is we produce, process, and we formulate new generation insect meal nutrition using black soldier fly. And while we do that, we ensure the aggregation and we aggregate the collection of organic waste in and around the city of Ibadan. All right, so basically also furthermore, our pioneering process of insect meat production using black soldier fly tends to limit waste generation to make low carbon impact alternatives at point of need. So basically what we do is we get the waste from the city center, the markets and all that, and we feed the waste on we give them to the insect, the black soldier fly, and then in turn give us a yield, which is processed into insect meal. So we are an insect meal production company, and we also collect waste in and around the city of Ibadan. And our target audience basically are just small-scale farmers, animal farmers, meat producers, and large-scale farmers.
Okay. So to understand you collect organic waste, which you feed to this black soldier flies, and in return they give you, did you say insect meal? Is that what you said?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so just to be clear, you crush the insect. There's noise in your background. You crush this insect to get insect milk?
Yes, we do.
Okay, all right. Okay, it's like when I squash an insect, that's the insect milk.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
I said when I squash a bug and it looks very gooey, is that?
All right. So basically, let me just explain. There is a cycle from the pupa, the larval stage, and all that. So before they finally get to the insect stage, they eggs, and the eggs are turned into maggots by taking them through the whole process of feeding them with the waste and all that. So the maggots is what we turn into, is what we dry and process into insect milk. So we call it insect milk because we don't use the word maggot milk because of synthetics around it. I mean, you understand. So we just try to have out the insect milk. Basically, it's just conversion of the maggots when they lay the eggs. You take the eggs and you take them through the whole process and they form maggots, and the maggots are.
Got it. No, perfect. Thank you so much. That's very clear. Thank you so much. D Square Tech. D Square Tech, are you online? Zhang Tech, I see you online. Zhang Technologies.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Zhang Lukabot, founder of Zhang Technologies Limited. We are into recycling electronic waste into valuable sustainable products, which are power bank and computer foot mouse. And the power bank is a storage device that stores electric charge and which can be used basically to recharge mobile phones, smartphones, and many other devices. And the computer foot mouse is a type of computer mouse that is operated using the foot, which the disabled, generally everyone can make use of it. And most especially the amputees, those without arms, will have access, to the computer.
Okay, so
thank you.
Thank you for that. So first, you collect electronic waste, very specific power bank.
Yes,
and
yes.
You actually add value and do the conversion and make you get that?
Hello? Yes.
Yes. So just confirming, you convert this recycled power bank into a product like foot mouse, and then you sell the foot mouse.
Yes, not only the foot mouse, electronic waste generally into power bank and foot mouse. So these are two products, power bank and computer foot mouse.
Right, and power bank as well. Okay, got it.
Yes.
Very much. Thank you. Have we had Echo? Echo was online. Have we? No, we haven't.
Hello, this is Dexter.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Ikena, please go ahead. You have the floor.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ikena Amadi. I am the CEO of Echo Boulevard. So Eco Boulevard is a startup social enterprise that is focused on pioneering a circular economy. Our mission is very simple. We want to turn waste into energy. We aim to utilize plastic waste to power underserved and unserved communities in Nigeria, as well as corporate and commercial clients through the provision of efficient mini-grid systems. Our technology works by basically heating up specifically PE and PP plastics by a process known as pyrolysis into synthetic gas and oil that is used to provide electricity. The waste is collected from residential and commercial clients and is then used to provide uninterrupted power supply at the most affordable tariff of any standalone system in Nigeria. And in summary, that's what we do. So we basically use plastic waste to provide electricity.
Right. Is this running at the moment? Are you in prototype phase? Are you already supplying electricity via this technology?
The product's already built, but it's not up and running yet. We've not deployed any systems yet, but it's been tested and it's ready to go.
Okay, super, fantastic. Anyone else that I may have skipped, or maybe I mentioned earlier? Okay, Osquare Tech, please go ahead. You have your hand raised. Osquare Tech? Not ready? Vetsa?
Yeah, hello. This is Vetsa.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, VetsArt is a social enterprise with a vision to transform agriculture in Africa. Our mission is primarily helping agri-business owners increase their productivity and income using technology. And one of the projects we've focused on over the last couple of years is called Bold Nutrition. And through Bold Nutrition, we have been able to develop technologies for processing agricultural waste and food waste and using it to grow the black soldier fly. We're actually one of the best in the country when it comes to developing of black soldier fly technology. And so we're super excited. Yeah.
Okay, so just to be clear, you build the technology that allows a company like AgriMax to be able to feed black soldier flies. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay. So what does this technology look like? Is it like, do you mean like?
Yes. So we actually did some work with USAID, on this. And one of the things we developed is a kit system for small scale farmers. So primarily anybody who wants to develop their own black soldier fly, they can use the open knowledge and technology we built to develop like a small scale system for farming the black soldier fly. And we've also developed a number of proprietary information around the feeds for the black soldier fly because it's quite technical beyond just gathering food waste. You also have to be able to know a number of things to be able to grow your black soldier fly without making them sick, because it could actually fall sick just like any other animal or micro livestock. So that's part of what we do. So we're more focused on the technology, the knowledge, and actually building a viable business model around having that kind of thing on ground for people like AgriMax and CHI and some of the other companies who are looking at black soldier fly farming and waste collection. Yeah.
All right, super. Thank you so much. So I see 4 hands raised. Those are companies we haven't run through. Osquare Tech, are you ready now? Am I pronouncing it wrongly? Is that why you can hear me? Osquare Tech. I can't hear you. I think probably your audio source. You're actually unmuted, but we can't hear you. I can see that you're talking, but we still can't hear you. Are you on your computer or on your mobile phone? If you're on a computer, check your audio source. Can we take Rita in the meantime? R-I-D-L. Rita?
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Rita Idehai, and I'm the CEO of Ruri Integrated. So Ruri trades under the name EcoBarter, and so at EcoBarter, we provide an integrated platform that helps consumers, so households and organizations, make eco-friendly shopping decisions. And then when they eventually generate waste on our platform, they get connected to various recycling collection programs. So we have drop-off hubs, which are hosted by young volunteers. We have some in semi-public places like markets and so. And then we also run like a routine pickup mostly for organized housings like estates and all. So if you call us for pickup from, say, a standalone household or something, so we have to schedule the pickup for end of the month or for a day that we work in that community. So the accumulated recyclables that we collect, recyclables such as plastic bottles, plastic bags, cans, paper, cartons, we sort them. And while we sell, we simply sell to other recycling or manufacturing companies for plastic bags, which are typically hard to recycle. So we have a system where we recycle plastic bags into fabrics. So to do this, we leverage on local skills, we leverage on hand weaving, the way they weave ashoke. So we weave it into fabrics, and those fabrics are then used in making new products. So that's the only part of our recyclables that we add value to is the plastic bags. Every other one we accumulate, sort, and we sell to recycling and manufacturing companies in and out of Abuja.
Okay, that's great. So you're actually an aggregator of plastic waste, and except for this small example in the ones where you add value, you just sell them to people who would actually do more with it. That is. Thank you so much. Oscar Tech, I see that your audio might be back. I can hear you breathing.
Can you hear me right now?
Please go ahead. We can hear you now, and we can also.
All right.
You can see your sewing machine, but go on.
That's just the workshop I am. Yeah, my name is Oshibaju Anthony, the founder and the operational director of Oscar Tech. Oscar Tech is a clean energy company where we are focusing on transportation, power, agriculture, then housing. We provide a solution that will be in between these markets. Presently, we are working on a solution which will be able to cater for clean energy system and the transportation. That's we have a product and services along this market as well. In the transportation, we're bringing in electric restore, which is popularly called top. And at the power side, we're introducing a power inverter, and at the agriculture side, we're providing inverter. The services that cut across all the three sectors is what we call service. Actually, as a service, eliminate the end user of having high capex and low operational expenditure. What this one simply means is this: a lot of people, a lot of homes and industry want solar energy at their station, but because of the initial cost of the solar PV and the battery, they're unable to have access to them. So Oscar Tech is eliminating those from them, where we will be the one to have this charge it and make it available on pay-as-you-go for all the customers or for all our customers.
Pause you there. That is a lot. Like all the it's like.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I think you have noise in your background, but that's a lot of industry you're trying to address. A lot of things you're trying to address at once. I mean, I feel like that. I think that would be very helpful. We have Falasha, is there a reason why you have your hand up? I thought you already picked. Really break?
Thank you very much for today. No, except if you are.
Yeah, no, we're just picking the company that didn't get a chance.
Okay,
yeah.
Sorry. I came at 11, so I really don't know that was it. That's okay.
Okay, no, that's fine. So I think we have probably Yomi Joseph left.
Yes. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning. So my name is Yomi, and I'm the co-founder and Chief Sustainability Officer of Playwist Waste Management Ventures. What we do at Playwist Waste Management Ventures is we ensure that waste is segregated at the point of generation, particularly
we collect the organic or biodegradable waste from farms, from households, from restaurants, and from markets. And what we do is we recycle them into compost. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, we recycle them into compost, which is a nutrient-rich soil amendment that is used to grow crops. So when we recycle them, we sell to farmers and also to home gardeners and growers. And we also offer composting as a service to our clients in farms and processing facilities, and also in residential estates. We have a model where we go to organized communities and organized estates rather, and we collect their organic wastes, and then we compost for them on site. They collect it back from us at a very, very small fee, and then they use it to grow crops, vegetables basically, in their gardens. So that's what we do. So we collect biodegradable waste, ensuring that they don't get to the landfills and dump sites, and we turn them into compost to serve the agricultural sector.
All right, so we don't run out of time before getting into the business model. Thank you all for sharing your business at the moment and what it is that you do. Very exciting stuff. Yes, so let's just get right into it. I don't have a lot of slides actually, as you can see. They're just 5 slides, and actually it's more like 2 slides. So the business model, the point of doing this, from the way you've described some of your business, it seems like some of you already have some sort of structure in your mind. And I'm pretty sure for some of you, this is not the first time you're going to be using the business model canvas. But for the sake of this session, we are all going to start from a blank slate, and it's just really going to help us go back and see what it is that we could change, we can add, we could reinvent what it is that we are already currently doing. So even established businesses that have been running for many years still go back to the business model canvas. Is someone trying to say something? Because I've hidden the closing control. Right. Okay. So it's not only when you're a startup, even when you're an established business, sometimes you go back and look at your business model, and depending on the country you're in, depending on the market that you're in, sometimes you have to change something in your business model to adapt and be sustainable. So since I can see Ikena, can you just wave if you can see the screen? I know it's been up for a while. Yeah, great, thank you. So the summary of this is, first, we want to be able to understand and explain what it is that our business actually does, right? And we're going to be using the business model canvas as a framework that will just help us really structure the different parts of our business and how it functions. And it's good for many things. You can pitch that to, it makes it easy for you to pitch to a customer, but it also makes it easy for you to pitch to an investor about how it is that they're going to make money from your business. So there are different ways, and it makes it really clear it makes you know, have a clear picture of what it is that you're doing and why you're investing this time, energy, and money into your business. So there are some resources at the top of the slide. I'm not going to go into them, but the links can be shared with you and you can have a look at them later. But the first one is just a business canvas video. In case for some reason, you are not able to hear me or understand what it is that I've said today, you can always just revisit the video, which helps. Then the second video is about a charcoal factory in Ghana. And what they do is they take coconut husk. So, when you have a coconut, you remove the husk, you take the coconut with the shell. And for those of us who eat coconut, you eat what is inside and even throw the shell away, right? So this husk is what they collect, and they turn into charcoal, right? The typical process for making charcoal is actually you get wood, you cut down trees, and trees that have grown for many, many years, and that's what you turn into charcoal. But they simply use almost a similar process of turning wood into charcoal, but they use the husk of coconut, and it's very brilliant. And the packaging of this product is the way they package it, it looks like something you would buy at a ShopRite or something that is coming from abroad. So that would just be an interesting concept to see. So that's the second link. The third link is talking about the economics of your value proposition, which is very important. I know that a lot of startups and a lot of upcycling or recycling companies are thinking of saving the planet and the social impact that they will be having. And this is fantastic. I do a lot of social work as well. If you go back to the first slide where I was introducing myself, some of the companies that do social work, the UNHCR or even a social enterprise that I run that is called Lofe Lofe. So I'm definitely up for social work. However, for your business to be sustainable, for what it is that you're doing to be sustainable, there has to be good economics behind it. It might not be what is driving you, but if you want it to scale, if you want it to catch fire, if you want the world to jump on it, then economics has to be behind it. And then the fourth video is actually from the CEO of TerraCycle. And he's talking about the circular economy and new business models that even they that have been running for many years have to start looking at. And so that's just some resources there for you. So yes, some of the learning outcomes I'd like us to have at the end of the session is, like I said, knowing how to attract paying customers to your business, first understanding what your product and service is, whether it's the technology, whether it's it's a physical product, knowing how to attract a paying customer, which could be a company, it could be and you could be an aggregator and you're having another person that actually does the recycling, buy from you, knowing where they are. How will they find your products? How would you attract them to come and get your product versus other people, right? But also very specifically what I want us to start with, and this will be an interactive session, that's why we don't have a lot of slides. Also, there are a lot of editable templates of the business model canvas online that you could download and then edit for your own company. So you could do that at the moment. But what I've done is just to recreate sort of some of the slides, some of the elements that I'll show you very quickly. Some of the elements of the business model canvas in PowerPoint, and you could do that as well, and then you could just type into it. The key thing is to understand these important questions that the business model canvas is actually asking you about your business, right? So I have some questions here. What is the waste that you're working with, which is what we try to start with when you're doing your introduction. Where is it coming from? It needs to be very clear. Where is it going? Right? So I have an example in the next slide, which I would run through, and I'm using the same coconut husk that this company, Zacol, I think it's called in Ghana, turns into charcoal, right? So what is the waste? Oh, it's this coconut husk that typically when I go buy a coconut drink by the roadside, or when I'm buying my coconuts in the supermarket, the husk is thrown away, right? You need to be clear about what the waste is. Where is it coming from needs to be very clear. Where is it going? Is it going to my own factory first, where I'm going to do something about it? Is it going to my backyard? Is it going straight to a tertiary recycler that needs this product? Where is it going to need to be very clear in your mind? Does it have value? This is very important, right? So it could be, and when we say value, it could be apparent, like now we know that, today we know glass is valuable, right? So people will pick that out of the trash and they go sell it. But is it perceived value, or is it a value that you even hope to create, that because of your business model, people are going to start paying for the stuff? So apparent value, another example of an apparent product with a value that is recycled are those inverter batteries. Right, today, well, not everybody knows it, but a lot of people and a lot of the security guards know that when you're throwing out your inverter battery or even your car battery, they know that they could get something for it. And I think the typical rate in Lagos is about 5K, although for those of you that know, you can get more for it. But they know by doing nothing, just putting this battery out, the guys that come around to take it would pay something for it, right? And that value needs to be there, because then it would drive sort of unintended participation from a larger audience than you could have envisioned. How do you plan to access this waste? How do you plan to give value to the custodians of this waste? So if I'm the custodian of this waste, or sometimes companies are custodians of this waste, how do you intend to give value for you to access this resource that is important for your product? How do you intend to get the best value when reselling? And this is very important, because it's not enough to say, I collect plastics and then I recycle it. And when you recycle it, you're not able to get value, a reasonable value for it. So even the companies that you're going to be selling to are going to be saying, what is the cost? They're not just going to do it out of benevolence. They're going to say, what is the cost of me buying your recycled plastic versus me buying brand new plastic? If your cost is 2x or 3x me buying brand new plastic, I'm sorry, they might want to save the planet, but the economics of this is saying that, look, if you just get brand new plastics, it's cheaper. So how do you intend to collect this for your entire value chain to be economic to whoever's going to buy it in the end, and that whoever you're going to sell it to is willing to pay a reasonable value to it for it. And that reasonable value needs to give you profits in the end, and it needs to allow you run your operations in the end. So if the value you're getting for your product cannot allow you run your operations, then that's going to be a problem. Yes, for some things it's going to be a long-term thing, but in the end there should be that goal that it's sustainable by itself. Okay, if you have any questions, please feel free to use the gesture, raise your hands. I don't think that we have any hands up at the moment, but yes. Okay, so the next slide. So as we go about this, as I run through this example, I want you to start sort of doing yours as well, right? So by the time I run through this within the next 10 minutes or even less, then I'm going to be calling you one by one, and I really want you to just literally give us what the structure of your business is, you know, in this boxes, right? Okay, so the business model canvas has 9 important questions. And the first is revenue stream. Where are you getting your money from? The second is cost. What is it going to cost you for you to make this money? The third is your customer segment. Who are you selling this product to, or who's buying this product from you? Who's giving you value for this product that you're making, where you're making your money from? The value proposition, right? What will make your product or service different? What will make customers like your product or service? What value are you set? Everything is about value. You can't come and you can try it once. You can come and sell a broken bottle to me and say, oh, from the goodness of your heart, just buy this broken bottle. And we have examples like that where people are just selling you things you don't really need, right? You can do it once, you can do it twice, but you're not going to be doing it every day, right? So you need to be very clear in your mind about what your value proposition is and what's going to make your customer come back over and over again. And it's because they're deriving value from it, right? Your channels are literally where customers are going to go to get your product, or how is your product going to get to your customer? So depending on your type of business, I'm just going to pause here and say, are you a business to business type of organization where you're selling to other businesses? Are you a business to customer, right? You're selling something to the end user. Are you even a customer to customer? So some C2C sort of type examples would be, I can't think of one from the top of my head, but like your GG, like your online site GG, for instance, you have a lot of customers selling to customers rather than your big businesses selling to customers, right? And what would typically happen in a customer to customer ecosystem is that the customer that is selling to you is also buying, right? So it's not like how you have I'm going to use the ShopRite example, where I go in and buy, but they're not necessarily buying anything from me or from other consumers, right? They have their suppliers and I just go in and buy. But in a customer to customer environment, you tend to have the same people in the ecosystem driving the ecosystem. They are buying and selling different things amongst themselves. So your channels will be different depending on the type of business that you have. If I'm selling directly to Heineken, for instance, there's certain channels that I don't need. I probably don't need a supermarket, depending on the product that I'm selling directly to them. I don't need to interface with the customer, things like that. So just also having that in the back of your mind that your channel, how you reach the customer is also depending on the type of business. Some of the key activities that you have to do. So you have to sort of break it down. How do I intend to get that revenue? Where am I spending that cost? How am I reaching the customer? What sort of key activity do I need to do to make this happen? Do I need to do some marketing? Do I need to, have some meetings? What do you have to do? Do I need to get the raw materials myself, transport it myself? Do I have to add value to it? All that needs to be important. So I hope you're sort of thinking about yours, and we'll probably pick some examples and use that as a case study. Okay, so key resources, who are the people I need and what tools or equipment do I need? So what are the key resources that you would need? So in this example that I have here, which is about the coconut husk, the revenue stream is for me to collect the coconut husk, right, from the people selling coconut water by the roadside. Every time they break open a coconut and sell it, they throw that away. So my key activities are to go speak to those people, make a deal that I'm going to be collecting a certain amount of coconut from them, about 100 for 250 naira, and I'm going to pay them 25,000 naira. That's a lot, but this is just an example. And I need a wheelbarrow to transport this coconut husk when they're not going to bring it to me. This 25,000 naira doesn't include them bringing or transporting it to me or wherever it is. I will go to them in this example. So that's one of my key activities. I need to get a wheelbarrow. That's part of my cost. Collect this coconut husk from them, and then I need to transport it to my backyard where I'm going to start smoking them, probably turning them into briskets. Or in this example, I'm not even going to do any of that. I'm not going to add any value. I already know this company called Zappo that needs this material, and I'm going to act as an intermediary and say, I can save you the journey of you trying to aggregate, and I'm going to be an aggregator for you, and I'll be supplying you very regularly this raw material that you need. Right, so in that case, a key partner would be that guy or those guys by the roadside selling coconut water, and I need the raw materials from them, and the company who's going to turn the coconut husk into briskets, right? And then there are probably other people in between that are also just as relevant that have to be key partners. So for example, maybe I need to do something with the Ministry of Environment. You'd be surprised, even when you sell by the roadside, there are taxes to be paid, there are maybe Agbero boys to deal with. You have to consider that if someone can halt my operations or impact my revenue, then I need to consider the role that they're playing in my business model. Finally, it's customer relations, and how would I talk and interface with my customers to know if they like my product? So you want to do this continuously. You want to, even when you have your product out and people love it, you want to always just keep in touch with the customer base, because that is how competition comes in. When you lose touch with your customer base and they've moved on from your product and they're just waiting for the next thing to come, but you don't know it. So by the time the new stuff comes, they just shift and you wonder, but people were buying it. Why did they all just move? You always have to interface with them. And how do you plan to interface with them? Do you plan to do a direct engagement? Do you plan to do Google ads? What is it? So in my example, my customers are actually not the people buying coconut water. My customers are actually the guys selling the coconuts. That is my customer. He's the one giving me the material that I need, not the person buying the coconut water. But it's very important to sort of understand what is affecting their business as well, so that you can mitigate risk in your business. But that's story for another day. Right, so anybody, I don't know, should we have a few hands up? Anybody wants to use their company as a case study for if they have a business model canvas, and then we could make some changes and give some input. But I'm just gonna run through my last slide actually. And just to say, this is a quote from Adam Smith. I don't know if you may have heard of it. It's quite a popular quote, but it's just saying that it's from the benevolence of the butcher or the brewer. It's not from the benevolence of the butcher or the brewer or the baker that we expect our dinner, but from their regard of their own self-interest. We address ourselves not to their humanity, but to their self-love, and never talk to them of our own necessities, right? So when I'm approaching this guy selling the coconut, I'm not telling him how giving me this husk of coconut. It is important, I tell you, I understand, but I'm not necessarily selling to him how it's going to save the planet. The guy does not care. That's just the honest truth. What he cares about is, first, I'm going to save you from having, when you finish your business, do you know that you have to clean this waste by yourself? Because the Ministry of Environment or whatever will not allow you to just dump it anywhere. If you dump it today, tomorrow they will not allow you to stay here. So I'm going to help you get rid of this waste. That's one. Secondly, I'm actually going to give you something for this waste. And it might be helpful to be clear about that from the start, because the moment, if you are able to get it for free, the moment they realize you're getting value for it, guess what? You're not trustworthy in their eyes anymore. And then they would bypass you. So you want to be clear that, I can give you this value for it, and we can grow this business together. You want to grow your ecosystem. You want to collaborate that way.
Fumi, we're losing you. Fumi, we're losing you. You're breaking. Okay, I would like to urge that we kindly wait for Fumi to get back online. She's probably experiencing. Okay, she's back. Yeah, Fumi, you're back?
Yes, apologies about that. Where did you lose me exactly?
Well, I think around your value proposition, trust coming in.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, so time is fast spent, but yes, just keep that in mind. The businesses that survive for a very long time are those that sort of that think of the ecosystem, the entire ecosystem, how they can benefit, but also how they can grow the ecosystem. So you don't want to be a big fish in the small pond, right? You want to sort of grow the overall pie. And as you're growing the overall pie, you're also growing. So just keep that collaborative attitude and nature in mind. So I was doing many more actually before I dropped off about which company we should use as an example and help that person refine their business model. And in the process of doing that practice, we can also do the same for ourselves. So does anyone want to volunteer themselves, or shall I just call someone? Come on, people, we have like less than 50 minutes left to do this. Don't be shy.
Volunteer. I need.
Oh, volunteer to use your company to develop your business model canvas at this time.
So will it be done online?
So, sorry?
Are we doing it live?
I didn't get the question.
Are we doing it now? Like
Yes. Yeah, we want to use a company as an example, and then we sort of start to have that company, or maybe a group. I know that you're in groups, so maybe okay, you volunteer that Slack. Okay, let's start very quickly.
So, agreements to join me too.
Yes, you could also get your teammates to pitch in as well.
Okay, so let's see my teammates now.
All right.
Okay, let's do this.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm actually just going to clear this one, but go on. Where were you? So first, tell us what the waste is, and then how do you plan to make revenue from it while I open. Are you there? You have the floor.
Yes. Okay. So the waste for us is food waste. So we use food waste, brewery waste. Food waste or food scraps from restaurants, food scraps from hotels, food scraps in the market, farm waste from post-harvest losses. This will be the list of the waste for us. But actually, we have something to add. you like to add to it?
Okay, so I actually did not really get, how are you making money?
The revenue streams. Right now, money is being made from the Black Sea Apply, lava.
Okay, you know what? Let me open the business model so that we type in, and maybe that would help. That would guide what it is saying. Right. So. This is just one of the many templates available. I'm gonna share screen quickly. All right. So first, which segment do you want to start with? Just start with where it's really clear. Start with the, you don't, I mean, some people would start with the cost, some people would start with the revenue, but start with where it's really clear in your mind. For me, the value proposition is at the center of everything. So sometimes it's logical for me to start there to say, what is it that you're really selling? But maybe something else is holding the center of your business. So you could feel free to start there. Are you still there? So
yes.
Where are we starting?
Let's start with the revenue streams.
Okay.
Is that?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, number one, Black Sea Apply lava, DSF planning. Do I type it on the chat?
Yeah, no, sorry, I'm having issues editing this one actually. But actually, please go on. I'll put it in. So your revenue streams are, not to waste any time. Just 1, 2, 3. Tell us 3 ways you make money. 3 simple ways you make money.
So we could do DSF planning, DSF farming consultancy service, then DSF farming kit. Yeah. So that would be the revenue streams. Then for cost structure, that would include
so let me just
one,
what you said. You do consulting. That's many, probably I'm having delays here, but I'm struggling to sort of hear you. So for your revenues, you said first is that you do consulting, right? So you give consulting services about Black soldier ants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
That's Black Sea Apply farming. So just DSF, that's the abbreviation. DSF farming. Number 2, selling the larvae.
Right, selling the larvae. The larvae.
Number 3, the farming kits.
Right. Okay. So you have a farming kit. What's this farming kit? Can you describe the farming kit to us very quickly?
Yeah. So primarily, farming kit contains the cage used for farming, contains the egg incubator, contains your biodigester. So everything you need from A to Z to grow a Black Sea Apply from egg to adult. That's the kit.
Okay, I don't know if anyone else is struggling to get the exact words of you just said, but there's a farming kit that has 3 main.
Yeah, you are correct.
Okay, how much is this farming kit very quickly?
Yeah, so it costs $200.
200,000 or 290?
200 USD.
Okay, 200 USD. Where are you selling this farming kit at the moment?
So right now we it's completely open source. We only use it for our own facility. It's open source. We haven't started selling it out.
Okay, so this farming kit, do you make it or you import it? Because you're saying it's 200.
We make it locally. We make it ourselves.
So why is your pricing in USD? Are you buying? So how much is it if I was to buy today? I know if you're in a different market, you would change that value, but you're in Nigeria, correct?
Yeah, that would be 100K.
Okay.
100,000 naira, yes.
Your exchange rate is very generous. I should come and change money with you.
Actually, it's stable. Just for any transaction fees.
100K is only 200. Well, yeah, it's quite generous. Yeah. Okay. Waste cycle. So you consulting for BSF. What does that cost? How much revenue do you get from that? What is a typical consultation like?
Yeah, if I'm consulting for anyone, I would charge 1.5.
1.5 million. Yeah, and how long does this consultation take typically? Does it take a month? Does it take 2 weeks?
So roughly that would take roughly 2 months.
Okay. Are you able to do more than one consultation at a time?
Yes, yes.
Okay, because for instance, if your consultation requires you, if let's say where I want to do my BSF is in Nasarawa and you have to go all the way there to consult with me, and then another customer calls you and they're in Oshobo, then it limits how much revenue you can actually make within the period. So I hope you guys are taking note of this. It's not just about saying I'm going to make 10 million in a month. It's not just about saying I'm going to make 10 million. It's putting a duration on how long it's going to take you to make that money, right? Because that's going to influence the resources that you need to make that money. So the moment you say, oh no, if I'm not available, I'm in Nasarawa, I can get someone else to do it in Oshobo, then there's a cost structure to that, right? Yes, your revenue might increase, but your cost structure has also increased. And if you say, no, I'm the only one that is available that can do it, then your revenue has reduced, but then your cost structure is sort of at a one-person level, right? Okay, so please, do that in yours. What is your revenue stream? How exactly is money coming in? What are people paying for? And then how long is it going to take you to actually make that money? So when you sell the larvae, I know that insects in general have very short, life cycle. How long does it take to sort of get this larva going for you to sell them?
So roughly speaking, it takes 2 weeks for the larvae to mature, to get to maturity for sale.
Okay, and how much do you sell them? So 6 weeks to mature, and then how much?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
And how much do you sell them for?
Yeah. Price is still not stable as of now, but it ranges from anything from 50K.
Give me an average.
50K.
50K for?
Use 50,000 naira.
Yes, 50,000 naira for what? Is one larvae 50,000 naira? Is 20 kilograms of larvae 50,000 naira? What is 50,000 naira?
Actually, I sell one larvae for 15 naira.
Okay.
Yeah, so I will change the spelling of larvae to pupae.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll change that to pupae so that it's very specific and clear.
So why is this difference important? Is there a different price?
Oh yeah, this is important because it takes, it's going to take me, anybody who's buying the pupae is probably trying to set up a farm. So so they will not be spending any money to feed the pupae. So they're just trying to hatch the insect and start up their own colony. So So it's quite expensive. And I would change it 2 weeks to 3 weeks.
Right. So you see the edits you're making, the moment you start putting the things down and you're actually asking the right question, you begin to refine it. So do you actually sell the larvae as well?
Yeah, but I think the price is unstable, so I'll just pass that. I actually make more money from the cooking.
Right. So you don't want to sell the larvae to Agrimax. I don't know if Agrimax will be interested. Mr. Ibrahim, do you want to jump in? Okay. Does anyone, while we're still on the revenue stream, does anyone have something to add? Any questions? Please ask him questions. Let's help him refine his revenue stream. Sorry, I keep looking sideways, but that's where your names and pictures are. So does anyone have any questions for Nene to help refine how he's making money? Come on, people, we have less than 3 minutes left.
All right, hello there, I think I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, I want to, if there are different of...
Okay, hold on. So Ogunshare would go first, and then there was someone just speaking just now. I agree something. I missed.
Yes, I was the one.
Okay, African Creative Hub. Okay, so let's have Ogunshare first, and then African Creative Hub. You can go next.
All right, thank you very much. So my question is number one, how do you go about ensuring mitigating cost of assessing waste as a waste? Because I think one of the things you talked about is cost structure. Your cost structure was I think waste, getting the waste and all that. So how do you really go about, ensuring that the cost of getting the waste doesn't into your your budget and all that? So that's my question.
Okay, so that's a general question. It's not for Nene in particular. Okay, I've noted that. You can go ahead, African Creative Hub, please. Okay, while we're waiting for African Creative Hub to ask her question, Fola Shade. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much for me. My question is similar to that of Ogunshare, but now in a different way. Since he said he only sells the larvae per unit, what is the cost of raising one larvae? If he has an idea, like what's the estimated cost?
Yeah.
So that this is going to help what it be like when he feeds them to his fish or whatever he feeds them to.
Okay, so thank you for that. Before I answer sort of how to reduce cost, now that we've done the revenue, Many, can we quickly do the cost structure so that we actually have a quick idea, overview, if you're going to make money or not? And then that would answer the question that was just raised in terms of like, how much is it that you're spending on raising larvae? Although you said that you don't want to raise larvae because the price is unstable, but even the pupae, right, that it takes 3 weeks to mature, what is the cost? So what are your cost structures? If you could give me 5 major cost structures that you have very quickly.
Okay, let's do that. Food waste.
Sorry? Food waste. Organic waste.
Food waste. Yeah, I just call it food.
And where do you get this from?
Mostly from restaurants.
Okay. And these restaurants are where, to be specific?
They usually within 10 minutes drive from 10 minutes radius or drive from the facility.
10 minutes drive from your facility?
Yes.
Okay. What do you call your facility? I'm about to type grooming facility, but what do you call it?
Bone nutrition. Bold nutrition.
Hello, I think I'm back on. Can I ask my question now?
Yes, sorry.
Bold nutrition, BOLD.
Oh, from the Bold Nutrition. Okay. Yeah, you can go ahead.
BOLD.
Bold.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Please go ahead. African Creative Hub. She dropped again, perhaps. Can you hear us? Okay.
I want to ask two questions.
Yes,
Yes, I can hear you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking that, is there a different, you were selling the larvae before. Is there sales in that aspect? You know, like, I don't understand what he's doing much, but like if I want to do like fish, for example, they have different cycle. They have the ones that are maybe the fingerlings, the juvenile. Now, does it sell in each of these stages? That is one. Then two, does this bulk, for example, now, does it sell in kilogram or it has to be in pieces? Because those are different ways that, you know, streams can come in.
Okay.
Did you get the question?
Yeah, I get it. But do you need me to answer now?
Yes, please. And I mean, just to summarize so that other people understand the question, is first saying, I mean, I think that he said which stage he wants to focus in, but it's saying what stage of your product are you focusing on? And then the second is pretty much like, what is your minimum order quantity? Are you just selling them, you can sell individually, or there's a minimum order quantity that people have to buy? So yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. So, in fact, thank you very much for this. So there are many ways of making money from largely applied farming. For me, my core focus.
How do you want to make money? Don't tell us how everybody else is. How do you plan to do it?
Yes. Thank you very much for that.
Adamu is gonna kick us out very soon.
For me, my core focus customers are people who want to start up their own largely applied farming. Right, so the fish farmer is not my customer, the poultry farmer is not my customer. So my customers are people like agri-max who are focused on serving fish farmers.
Okay. So yours is to so if we sort of go outside of this your business a little bit, it's like for those who do poultry, right, or no poultry, that the farmers who actually would grow the chicks from when, you know, they're buying them as chicks to when they actually become fully grown hens, and then they sell those to the market. What you are doing is the before that, right? So in the poultry sector, you have those incubators that would hatch the egg, or hatcheries that will hatch the egg and then even turn them into chicks and then sell the chicks. So you're like an input to the BSF farmers. Yes, so like an input provider to the BSF farmers. And then BSF farmers can decide that they are selling larvae, they are converting it into fish feed or whatnot, but yours is to sort of supply those people. So those people are your customer, the farmers around this ecosystem. The second question was around your minimum order quantity. Can you sell them one-on-one? So if I come and I buy 115 naira, or do I have to buy a minimum?
Yes, you have to buy a minimum. So the minimum we do is 100. We do 100 minimum. So you need to spend at least 15,000 naira.
Your minimum is what?
15,000 naira. 100 units.
Okay, so your minimum is getting 100 units, which makes right, 100 units, but that's 1,500.
That should be 1,000.
No. Yeah. 1,000 units. 1,000.
So you want
1,000, not 100.
Okay.
Yes, that's 15,000 naira.
So you really need to sit down and break this down and document it, so that it's very clear in your mind. The difference between 1,500 and 1,500 is different, right? Okay.
Actually, it's 15,000 because we sell to people across the country, so help us cover transportation costs and all that. So it has to be 15,000.
So if I take out the service part, I'm in the service industry, and I know that you don't necessarily get jobs every month. even with the fact that we're very busy. The reason why we're very busy is because we work in multiple countries. So the day Ghana doesn't have or the month Ghana doesn't have a product, we are working in another country. Or the day they're not doing jobs in Lagos State, we are doing work in another city. So if right now I'm looking at your revenue stream, if we take out the 1.5 million let's say that doesn't happen, it only happens 4 times in a year. I mean, and you're in the business, so you know what the cycle is. But let's just even be generous and say it's going to happen 6 times in a year that the customer is actually coming and is willing to pay that amount. So let's say for January and February, it doesn't happen, or it happens and the person says, well, can you take 500 or can you take 750, right? So they've halved your income. How much of full pay, you have to think about how much of full pay do you think you can push in a month, and how much of those farming kits can you push in a month? Because if the quantity is really low, then your income, so if you just say you're able to sell only 15,000 worth of full pay in a month, in the worst case scenario, and 1 farming kit, then you're having income less than 200,000, right? And already from the way you're describing your business, there are cost-intensive parts to it. And that goes back to the question that was asked earlier about how do you reduce cost? Right. So how do you reduce cost in your business? So since I don't really know Mene's business that well, I'll go back to the guy selling coconut by the roadside, and he's the one I want to buy the husk from. And I have taken up the transportation cost. I'm saying I'm going to go there with my wheelbarrow and take it to my backyard and process it from there, or send it straight to the factory from there. Now, how do I reduce costs? By first understanding your entire chain. And I can now say, actually, I going to go and pick up this husk every time is costing me much, because I am, for instance, the CEO of the company, and I still have to do other things. And by the time I pay myself at the end of the month, the cost of me going to go and pick up the husk is not worth it. So I'm going to hire a young secondary school guy who can be doing this part-time. He picks up the husk very early in the morning. He picks up the waste from the night before very early in the morning, goes to school, and then at midday or at 2 o'clock, he goes the second time to pick up the husk for the day and brings it to my location. And I'm going to pay him half the price or a third of what it would have costed me before. That's just one example. Another example is to say, rather than me paying the husk person 10 naira, or there was an amount I put up earlier, 250 naira for the husk for the day, I'm now going to increase that to 300 naira or 400 naira. You have to sit down and calculate this and say, rather than me coming to you, guess what? Collect your husk, collect for those around you and bring it to me. It's you doing the math. There is a reason why you have this scrap collectors going around in different neighborhoods, going to the household, picking up the batteries, rather than sometimes the companies doing it themselves. The companies will do it for bigger players like maybe MTN or a data center that has thousands of batteries, and they're going to pick them up at once, but they cannot be going around every day, house to house, trying to get those batteries. It's going to cost them too much. And this is why you also have to be open up to partnership and collaboration, because you cannot do it all by yourself. You have to be able to let some parts go and give up a little bit of value for it for you to get more value. So I don't know if that answers your question. Tony, you have something to say? Adamo, I'm guessing we are out of time.
Yes, you are. Well, I think I could just give you about 2 minutes to round up. You've done a good job. It's a business model canvas. It comes in different ways. There are about 9 elements to it, and you've done your best in trying to make this as interactive as possible. And I'm sure you have provided them with links they can leverage on and get a better understanding of how it works. Yeah. And I'm sure a BMC is something that is a tool that they all use and they're all aware of. But basically, just try to look at it as, a very important business tool that you can use to, offer value to your customers, understanding your business better, your source of funding and how you can use your funding to generate better value, for your business and for your customer. It's not cast in stone. Different people see it differently depending on your mode or kind of business. But I'm not an expert like Fumi. Fumi has bifurcated everything for you. So I hope you guys, employ this into your various business models. And I'll just let Fumi round up in 2 minutes, and we will jump over to the next session. Fumi, thank you very much so far.
Thank you, everyone. If you have any further questions, feel free to drop them via the platforms that you have. I'm sure it will be sent to me. You can also find me on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. But I would encourage that even in your groups, I know that your businesses are sort of different, but there are also there are many ways of collaboration. There are many ways of, I can see for some businesses, you actually feed into one another. I think you should sit down in your groups, and just the same way we are probing, what is your revenue stream, breaking it down, what's your cost, how long is it going to take you, how can you reduce your cost, what's your value proposition, what's your minimum order quantity, what are your key partners, probing, helping another person probe. I think you would actually be able to complete having a very good structure for your business. So yes, in the absence of any raised hands or any additional question, I would like to thank you all so much. And yes, enjoy the rest of your day and the sessions that you may have ahead.
Thank you, Fumi. Thank you.
Fumi, we can't thank you enough. Thank you very much for a very insightful session. And we hope to see you some other time we call on your services. Thank you, Fumi. It's been a pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.
Bye.
All right, so we would be jumping immediately to the next session. We're already 30 minutes out. That would be talking about the circular economy in its generality, what it entails, and how we can actually add value to you. It's something we talk about unconsciously or consciously. It's something that we're into, but it's interesting to know that you might actually be in a space, but you might not really understand to a great deal the ramifications of what you're doing and the positive indicators that your business pretends. So I think that's what this session is going to be hovering around, and this will be taken by Ibrahim Bowenhut. Ibrahim is a certified facilitator with the Enterprise Development Center of the Pan Atlantic University. He is the co-founder of Blue Oceans and development firm, their business development firm, and he would most definitely give you a very insightful lecture around the circular economy model. And I urge you all to listen up as attentively as you can, because this will be a value-added session. So Ibrahim, I'm going to call on you. It's your floor. Ibrahim?
Hello, Adamu. Good afternoon. Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me clearly. Could you please confirm that, Adamu? That you can hear me clearly.
Good, and I see you good.
Oh, okay, that's important, because I want everybody to be able to realize that during the corona, I'm chilling somewhere in Bahamas, or I'm not sure what island this is, but well, good to everyone. That's a joke. As you can tell, the picture behind me is not real. Hello, Chidu. Hello, Chima. Adijoki, Daniel, Pizza, Tony. Who is GM? Anyway, good afternoon, everyone. Please confirm that you can hear me clearly by just typing yes in the chat room. I can see Chiodu nodding. Hello, good afternoon. Nice earphones. I'd like to have it after this session. Thank you. African creativity is waving. Thank you. That means you can hear me and see me clearly. How about Mr. Ikena? Can you hear me and see me clearly? Oh, so just a thumbs up would suffice, Mr. Ikena.
I can hear you.
Okay, okay, thank you. Nice suit, by the way. And Yomi too, as well as Fala Shadi. So I think I called everybody's name. There's somebody savior. I mean, today will be a good day if we have a savior among us. So, oh, GM, hello, nice to meet you. Nice hairdo. When I heard GM, I was expecting either a man or woman with big white barbariga, but that's fine anyway. We'll manage with the black one. Well, so anyway, my name is Ibrahim Bowanhot. I'm a facilitator, like Adam said, with the Enterprise Development Center, which is part of the Lagos Business School. I've been opportune to more or less interface with small businesses for over a period of 15 years. And what that means is I've always been a small business person in startups. So it's a sector that I enjoy. It's a sector that I enjoy providing solutions for. As a business myself, I started as a startup. So it's always good to find people that are in the same space with you. Although I do clearly understand that your industry is quite um, different, but I mean some of the problems we share are quite unique and quite similar. So it gives us a good frame of reference. Okay, so I'll be talking about circularity economy today, and it's a very engaging and interesting topic. I find it so interesting because if you look at what it means in terms of impact across the globe, you could just tell and see a better future for humanity if it's something that is adopted across board. But as you know, with concepts and theories or whether you're left wing or right wing or whatever you choose to call it, not everybody agrees on anything. In fact, when you find a situation where most people agree on something, then something is terribly wrong, right? But what I hope is that for us as business owners, I hope that we can more or less start thinking this towards this concept, right? So that it's more or less it's something that it becomes part of the foundation of our businesses. And as we grow, and I'm quite sure, I'm confident that most of us here will grow up to be multinational organizations. Then we become the companies that are more or less at the forefront, especially from Africa, with that kind of mindset where everything we put into our businesses in terms of production, in terms of creating value, does not go to waste. Everything gets recycled and the economy enjoys for it. Your business itself, as you see, will benefit from it. The economy, the environment, it's a win-win, right? And there are very few things in life that you can confidently see that it's a win-win. This is one of the few ones. So my hope at the end of okay, so we don't have up to an hour. My hope at the end of maybe 45 minutes or thereabouts is that we give this mindset a chance. We more or less inculcate it so it becomes a culture in our business. And I believe from there, people that will work under us, people that will partner with us, will also share those kind of ideals. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do this. I usually love an interactive session. So yes, we're short of time, but I'm always open to questions. So just a bit of warning. Since we are all in Nigeria, from what I can tell, that we do understand the issue of networks in Nigeria, right? So in case I get thrown out of the Zoom, please apologies. It's just one of those things that happens. The internet can be quite something in Nigeria. I'm sure we all know that already. So, but if that happens, I'll try as much as possible to get back. So I'm in a new location. I'm hoping this internet is strong enough. If it gets a little bit poor, please just let me know in the chat room and I'll switch off my video. So as I'm sure once you can hear me, it should suffice. But please confirm to me in the chat room that you can clearly see my slides and hear me clearly. So seeing me is not that important, but as long as you can see my slides and me clearly, that'll be great. So please in the chat room, if you could just help me confirm that you can hear me clearly as well as see my slides clearly. Okay, so I can see a couple of responses. Seeing slides clearly. Thank you, Silvio. I'd like to have your number after this so that I can be saved. Ogushaya said, yes, we can see your slides. All right. Okay, so thank you. So I think, okay, so Rita was confirmed. African Creative Hub. Okay. Oh, African Creative Hub says we can see you. Okay, So as long as you can see the slides, that's the most important thing, and you can hear me. But thank you. Let's go ahead. We are really, really short of time, so I'll breeze through it. But I'll open to questions, and whatever you are not clear about, please just let me know, and I'll try as much as possible to go back and do an explanation. So, what is a circular economy? I mean, I more or less said it, and I think the word explains a lot about it, right? So it's more or less a systemic approach, right? Or a systematic approach. It's not, as you know, with anything that's systemic, it's not haphazard. So it's more or less a planned approach, right, to economic development. As you know, there are so many ways in which people or countries can develop their economies. So this is just one of them. But I do believe, and I am sure by the end of this session, you'll clearly see the benefits that this is where the future of economy should be going to, which is more or less a tool where businesses, societies, and even environments benefit from this. So as you know, even with the most used economic development strategies we use, which is mostly capitalism, you do know that it leaves a couple of parts of the society behind, right? But in contrast, this is more or less carries everybody on board, right? So for circular economy, it's more or less it's the take, make, waste linear model. So rather than a linear model where you just take, you create, you waste a comfortable percentage of it, but you still create value. But the problem with the linear model is that you waste, there are so many wastes. I mean, just think about it in any way. So think about it from somebody frying akara on the side of the road to somebody making dresses. So whether it's in the one-room apartment or it's a fashion designer stores, think about the number of waste. Put yourself even within the context of your own business, but go beyond that and think about any business at all. You see the amount of waste. So when you're cutting leather to make shoes or to make a bag or so much, there's so many edges that get cut off and get left on the floor. And at the end of every working day, you see the amount of waste. And those are just small businesses. Now, think about it in the context of factories, in the context of manufacturing hubs, like in China, like in Aba, right? Like in some other parts of Nigeria, where there are loads of people creating value, manufacturing, converting raw materials into finished products. And think about it in the context of the waste. I think someone has his or her mic on. If you could help us switch off your mic, that will help. Thank you so much. Right. So think about it, and you begin to see, that there's a big problem, right? As we know, the resources we have on Earth, especially the ones that we use for manufacturing or creating value or creating most of the goods and services that we consume, as exceptionally finite, right? Think about it anyway, right? they are they are limited. Now, this model should help us as businesses, should help us as a country, and even as a planet to be able to evolve and change how we approach resources. It helps us to be able to not just evolve, keep the planet safe, but also move on to create more jobs, as we will see. So in context, what does the circular economy mean, right? So it's more or less a restorative and regenerative design. It aims and regenerate. So not just take and waste, but take, improve, create value, and the process of creating value is almost continuous, right? So what is constituted as waste for A would be feed for Mr. C or Mr. B to be able to create value. So value is created out of value, or value is created out of waste. Whichever way, it more or less a system of continuous value. And you can see how great this systemic strategy towards economic development is. And like I said, whichever way you look at it, either in terms of a country as an economy, or in terms of small businesses or even large businesses, as well as individuals, the benefits are clear to see. But the circular economy is mostly based on three basic principles, right? The first one is the design out waste and pollution, right? Secondly, keep products and materials in use. And finally, regenerate natural systems. So let's jump into the first one. Okay, so please, at any time you can't hear me, please type in the chat room, or just go to your mic, switch off your unblock yourself and just let me know so that I'll ensure that we are together. Now, when we say design out waste and pollution, I think the word clearly explains it. So when you as a business or as an economy, you're trying to create value, or you're trying to go into business, you go into it not just with the source raw materials. How do we convert it into value? How do we market it? How do we sell? How do we ensure that we keep our customers? One of the key things that you do in this system, beyond the regular things you do when you're going to start a business, for example, since we are business owners here, is to think about how do we design our product much as has been observant in the past 10, 15 years. You can see how global warming is changing. You can see how the weather is so erratic, right? So I am from the northern part of Nigeria, and I know how rain, floods, or lack of rain, as the case might be, has had a very huge impact on food commodities. And we can see the effects of it in most large cities like Port Harcourt, Kano, Lagos, Abuja, and so on and so forth. Now, for us to ensure that we get out of that route, both as a country and as individuals or as members of a global society, which is the planet, I think having a system where businesses, companies, or even countries are running in a way where they designed from the onset how to be able to cut out as much waste as possible, or create a system where even where waste exists, it can transform into raw materials into another product, right? And that, as you can see, it's a total complete mind change. It will totally revolutionize how companies approach businesses, how they see their customers, as you will see with one of the examples we have. So when I was looking at the example, I was laughing because I was wondering how people would look at the example, especially in the context of Nigeria. But when we get to the example, I would like to hear what a few of us think about. So the first principle, like I said, is to design from the onset, design out waste and pollution from it. The second one is to keep products and materials in use, right? To ensure that your products and materials are always, you keep them, that they are always useful. They become, so what if you could build an economy that uses things rather than uses them up, right? It's a completely different thing, right? So there's a context of using, right? But it's about what happens after using. Do you use and dump, or do you use as well as you use it in a way where it forms into a material to create further value, right? So a circular economy, as it sees, favors activities that preserve value. And for anybody that is in business, you know that one of the most important things, right, is to be ensured that you can create value. Always you have to ensure that you can create value. And once you create value as a business, you know that you are almost guaranteed to have customers. Once you create value and you communicate it properly through marketing, then you're almost guaranteed to be able to have customers flooding at your place. Now, think about where you have a system where you're continuously creating value. Now you can begin to see the after effects of enjoying a system where whatever you do, you continue to create value constantly. What that means is that your revenue streams increases as a business. You find yourself that you're not limited to only that product that you create, because once you think about circularity, you begin to ask yourself, so I when I create my product, I do packaging. So what happens to the waste from the packaging? And then more or less you create a packaging system business, right? It's when you have that circular mindset, business owner, you just find out that it just opens your mind in terms of creativity, that you begin to think about businesses that ordinarily would not exist. And those are some of the benefits, as we'll see, right? So think about it, right? It favors activities that preserve value in form of either energy, labor, or materials, right? And this means designing for durability, designing for reuse. You don't design things for one-off usage. You don't design things for that can only be used for 1 year and they are gone, because that will encourage waste. But you design things that can last for a very long time. How many of us can think about companies that have this kind of mindset, that when they design their products, they don't design their products for 6 months, 1 year, they design their products to last for a very long time, right? Can anybody I mean, if you could just raise your hand or in the chat room. Okay, I think I see somebody in the chat room. Just go ahead and check quickly. Okay, Apple. So Mr. Daniel says Apple. That's totally right. Apple, right? And as you would notice, even though the Android system might be a little bit different, but I think Apple, Samsung, most of the big companies, they create their products to last at least 3 years. So the life cycle is 3 years. And what they are doing in most cases, if you notice, Apple started a trend late last year, and Samsung immediately jumped on it. And these are rivals. So what Apple has done is, for those of us that are phone savvy, what they did with the iPhone 12 was to sell the phones without chargers, because they believe that if you have been using an iPhone, for example, since when they started, which was 2007, you would have had dozen or donkey loads of chargers lying down around. And they're always easy to get. There's a second-hand market for it already. So what they felt was that, why don't we sell our products without something extra? So what would have cost them to recreate chargers? They just totally took it out. So Apple has done it last year, and Samsung in their S21s are selling their mobile phones right now without chargers. So if you look at what it costs to come into chargers in terms of mineral resources and all of that, then you know that that is significant steps for companies that sell nothing less than 300 million units in phones. It's a significant step for the environment, for businesses. So thank you, Daniel, for your example, right? So that was a good and great example, right? So let's go to the next and the final. So it generates natural systems, right? So what if we could not only protect but actively improve the environment, nationally and all this? What would be better for us to move from protecting to improving, right? So we're not just trying to save the planet for a day where disaster happens, right? But we're actively putting in an economic system or business systems that ensure that we can fix or repair or even improve the planet. Imagine if you could roll back carbon spread or carbon the toxic waste that we have had for over 50 years. Imagine if you could roll back that time. You can see how that would be beneficial. I mean, even in terms of how we live as human beings would greatly improve. So these are the three things that the circular economy is based on. And I find them very interesting because, like I said earlier on, you look at it from whichever way you look at it, it's beneficial for both individuals as well as companies. That you find a system where more or less embraces every aspect of the economy, right? So it does well for the natural system. It does well for small businesses in terms of creating value, creating more revenue streams, in terms of even creating employment. And for the economy on its own, it's hard to see a model that encompasses a circular model that doesn't thrive as a country. I mean, let's take a look at it critically and ask yourself, where you have an economy where nothing goes to waste. Everything is recycled, everything is reimproved. Um, so you make dresses that last for a very long time. You make systems that last for a very long time to ensure that rather than creating new ones, but you continue to reduce them over and over and over. Waste cycle, I think your mic is on. If you could help us, that would be great. Waste cycle, can you help us? Okay, Savior now has her mic on. Was Savior male or female? I can't remember anyway. But please, if you could help us mute your mic, that would be great, right? So I have an example here, and this is circularity in action. So maybe I've been saying a lot of things that maybe sounds a little bit far-fetched, or okay, so how do you envision it? How do we implement it? Or what does it mean in practical terms? So there's this company, Vega. It was born out of the circular concept, and it's very interesting. If you could look at the picture on your right, you can see what it is. So they make very good clothes that are durable for a very long time. So they don't make clothes with the mindset that When parents give birth to their first child, when they have their second child, they will have to buy new clothes. These clothes are made in a way where they are very durable. And what they do is that instead of parents to buy clothes, what they do is to rent the clothes. So if you have 3 children, over the life cycle of those 3 children, from age 0 all the way to age 10, they'll more or less use the same clothes, because these clothes are built to be durable. They are built so that you don't have to continue to recreate clothes and continue to dig into the very little natural resources that the earth has, right? To ensure that these clothes can be reused over and over. And what does this do? It ensures that the quality in these clothes is top notch. As you can see from the example, right? Now, there's a monthly subscription fee. Customers get 20 pieces of clothes in their child's size. So as your child continues to grow, you don't just throw away those clothes, right? The clothes gets back to the company. It is cleaned in a very professional and industrial way. So you're not worried about things like coronavirus or skin diseases or anything. In fact, it's almost as good as new. You can't tell the difference. But what does this do? It ensures that there is no continuous increase in looking for raw materials, because for everything we have, take a look at everything around you, wherever you are, right? Those things came out from finite raw materials. None of the things that are around you came out from materials that can be used over. Yeah, there are a couple of raw materials, unfortunately, that we will run out of them in the very near future. So what happens to those things? So circularity model, you see how in practical terms businesses are beginning to do it. So let me even bring back one of the examples, one of the arguments for circularity was one of the biggest culprits for carbon distance, of course, as you know, cars, right? Diesel cars or petrol cars, and they emit a lot of carbon, as well as they consume so much space. So there are a couple of data that I found very interesting, that cars, they only get driven for maybe 2.5 hours on a daily basis. The remaining 22 hours, they are more or less sitting down in the parking lot. So they're taking up space, they're taking up too many things, and the cost of what you even have in a car. So if you have a car with leather seats, so that's leather that came out from an animal that is sitting down and not producing any value apart from the initial value that it created. So you create that value once and that it stops. But how about a system where you can continuously create value? So back to this example, motor cars just sit down. I remember a couple of years especially in Lagos, there was I can't remember the name of the company, but what they did was more or less carpooling. So for those that really understand how Lagos is, if you're moving from the mainland to the island in the morning during the weekday, which is typically what most Lagosians do, move from the mainland to the island for work. And if you have people that work in the same environment or even the same office with you, rather than everybody hopping into their car and traffic, as is the case now in Lagos, why don't you carpool, right? So one person drives, the remaining 3, they hop into the car and they contribute to the fuel and everything. So it's better off for the owner of the car, because you continue to maintain your car. You're not spending so much on driving because you drive through there, and it takes care of your fuel, but it also ensures that for the planet, for the economy, there's less traffic, there's less occurrences of accidents. Then that means that car gets utilized as much as possible, right? And this is an example that happened in Nigeria. I happen to also be mentoring a lady that's more or less that's the model of her business. It's called Bosch Designs here in Lagos. And what she does is that she makes clothes for women, formal clothes as well as wedding dresses. But every part of the waste she takes out from either cutting or sewing or through the process of creating those clothes, she turns them into bed sheets, pillowcases, and so all sorts of things, covers for toys, and it's so also that you far-fetched things. Okay. So do we have any questions so far? Or does anybody know about any model currently that they have seen that takes the circularity concept into play? Anyone? Any suggestions quickly before we go on, so that we don't run out of time and take anyone either in the chat room, or you could mute your mic. Have you seen circularity in progress, in process? Have you seen it really happening in people's businesses? But more importantly, as a business owner, are you thinking about in these terms? Are you asking yourself, okay, so I see Daniel here had a suggestion for us. Thank you, Daniel. Jekyll or carpool startup. Okay, so I didn't hear Jekyll, or there was another one, but this actually sounds like one, and I can understand what he means here, but let's go. So thank you, Daniel, for that. African Creative says we naturally do this in Nigeria. Oh, okay, that's interesting. That's important. So is that because of lack? Because we don't, is it because we lack enough resources to get more materials, or is it because it's a concept that we do deliberately to try to achieve circularity and reduce waste, right? And that's the difference. So we might be able to do this as part of maybe because of the circumstances you find yourself. But what we're aiming for at the end of today is for us to inculcate it as a deliberate approach, right? So it becomes, when you're writing your business plan, when you're thinking about what you should be doing in 2022, you should be asking yourself, so how much waste do we create? How much pollution do we create? And how do we reduce that? Then let's go forward. Let's go beyond reducing and let's get to a stage where we can recycle. So this waste that we have, who can we sell it to? What can we generate out of it? And as you know, sometimes even in agriculture, there's what they call more or less where everything is integrated, right? So you have a bit of very animals as well as plants, as well as certain kinds of crops, and everything it's integrated, right? You take waste from the animals and it becomes manure to the plants, and the fruits benefits that you get from the plants to also go to feed the animals, and everything just goes in a cycle. So nothing really comes to waste. Daniel, I'm sure you're going to be getting an e-chocolate from me by the end of today. Daniel says, the order you're referring to closed up. I've forgotten his name. You're absolutely right. Yes, I believe they did close up, but thank you, Daniel. So I see, thank you for your contributions anyway. And let's go on. So let's look at what the economic benefits are for this system quickly, right? You can see that there are so many benefits, and I mentioned them earlier on, but let's look at a bit of nitty-gritty. Let's calm down. Now, in terms of economic growth, right, the benefits are incredible. You can clearly see where an economy can move forward by inculcating this model, right? So these changes in outputs of economic production activities affects the economic wide supply. It ensures that we cut out a lot of waste, right? So just think about immaterial cost savings. Remember the examples I gave earlier on. I say, think about from this person that sells akara to somebody that uses leather to create bags or shoes. So put yourself in that context, and if you have a very imaginative mind, you're already seeing the person drawing lines on the leather to cut out the shoe size, and he's kneading and he's cutting out parts. And you can just imagine how much parts of the leather are thrown on the floor. You remember where this leather came from? It came from an animal, and of course, the animals that are available, despite the fact that we wear them, are in limited supply, right? So all those parts are wasted. Now think about, like I said, think about a business hub in China. Think about a business hub in Vietnam. Let's come back to Nigeria. Think about a business hub in Enugu, or even where they make the leather in Kano, or even Aba, right? Think about those places and think about how much waste. So just put your mind in any typical market in Nigeria and look at where they gather their waste. You find so much wealth there. So imagine an economy where we can all recycle those things, right?
Step one. Huh?
Mr. Adam, we can hear your
Oh
mic.
my
If you
God,
could help us mute your mic.
I'm very
That's
sorry. I'm very
absolutely
sorry. I
fine. You
thought I
owe me
had
one
muted.
e-chocolate.
Okay, I
Yeah,
will.
you owe me
Apologies.
an e-chocolate anyway, but let's go back. Thank you, sir. So in terms of material cost savings, it's incredible for the economy. So let's talk about job creation. And in a country, or I mean, not just in a country, I mean, look about the effects. So of course, countries like Nigeria have a huge problem with employment, right? But look at what COVID has done. I mean, even in places like America, you have millions of people that are without jobs. If you find a model where it can create new revenue streams, what does that do automatically? It means that you will require more people to be able to continue to create that value that will bring you more revenue streams. And when that happens, you employ more people. And when you have virtually every business, whether it's small business or big business, adopting that model, what does that tell you? It means you find that a country ideally adopting this model will have to source for resources even out of the country. So imagine a very small country that has only maybe 15 or 20 million people, right? And there are countries that like that. I mean, when you employ that model, you can find out that you can see that at the end of the day, they begin to source for more people. And that's how you find places like Japan are looking for new workers, because an economy that encourages recycling, that encourages circular in terms of that encourages lack of waste or pollution will always generate, will always be better, will always be ahead of other countries, will always have a system where they continue to generate and increase value. Okay. And the most beautiful thing is that it increases innovation. Just imagine a country that for every time anybody is moving around, the more waste you see, the more thought process you put into it to see, how do I generate wealth from this waste? How do I generate? You find out that there are a couple of businesses that have incredibly grown out to be world-class business, but they came out of waste, right? And you find out, and as we ourselves see as businesses within this sector, I think it's clear for us to see where the benefits are. I mean, I can only just mention the benefits, but you know more than me how beneficial it is, because we are within the sector, we're within the industry. It's part of what our business models is created on, right? So even for the economy, in terms of innovation, in terms of cost saving, in terms of ensuring that materials or wastages, and even in terms of employment, the benefits are incredible, right? So how about for the environment and system-wide? What are the benefits? Let's look at it. In terms of carbon dioxide emissions, I mean, I don't need to convince you. Trying to convince you will be like preaching to the choir, right? And you know what it means. So apologies for some of us that are not Christians. So the concept, what it means is that they are preaching to people that know virtually everything about it already. So I'm sure we are clear about what it means or what it should translate to if you can cut off a lot of our carbon dioxide emissions, right? So how about primary material consumption? As you know, these are the materials that are limited in availability. I mean, when you see countries that, especially in Africa, where there's usually strife, war, communal clashes, it's all about scarcity because there's a limited amount to precious materials. And that's why you find some people, they gather a couple of young men, arm them, they go into villages, kill them, take over that place because there are finite resources there. And they know that those resources are limited. And once they have their hands on it, they can sell it to as much as they can. Thinking about things like mobile phones, if you know the kind of rare earth materials that go into mobile phones, as people like us that are in this industry, you feel a little bit disgusted with the phone you have. But please, in case you have an iPhone 12 or S21 and you feel disgusted about it, please mail it to me. I'll help you feel less bad about it. But it could be used for better things. And you can imagine if every phone or laptop or even cars that we use, we get it to a state where we can use them or recycle them. Okay. So please, quickly, I know we're running short of time, but just to be clear that you can still hear me and see my site clearly, I just need a quick yes in the chat room. That would be awesome. So that I'm sure that I haven't been just speaking to myself. So Daniel says yes. Oh, was this previously? Okay, that was previously. Okay, so please just confirm that you can hear me. But going ahead with so Zhang says yes. Thank you, African Creative Hub. Thank you. Okay, so that's fine. I'm glad that the internet didn't throw me out. I'm totally happy about that. So what about in terms of land productivity and soil health? Well, we ensure that as we are taking out of the soil, we are replenishing the soil. In fact, we don't just replenish it with equal amounts. We replenish the soil with a higher amount. I mean, think about it in terms of food production, in terms of growth as a business, that as you take it out, you put back into it so that it can produce more. I mean, I don't see a better way of a win-win concept more than this, right? So there's so many statistics that can back this, but in terms of productivity that we can gain out of land, and if you look at some of the data that comes out of Africa, especially in Nigeria, it's quite appalling in terms of production per hectare, right? So I spent a little time in the agricultural sector, and I won't bore you with too much statistics, and since we're really short of time. But in terms of what we could produce per hectare, or even per animal, even in terms of cows, milking cows, in terms of per liters in milk, even per terms of eggs and everything, ours is one of the lowest, right? Because we have a system that is built on wastage. But if you just imagine you have a system where it's built on continuous improving, that system will ensure that you continue to create value over and over again. Okay. So let's go on and see some more benefits that I believe are quite obvious. So what are the opportunities for companies, right? So we have seen the opportunities and the benefits for the society. We have seen the benefits, of course, for the environment, as well as land, in terms of land, air, water, and so on and so forth. Now, for companies, you can see that it helps in terms of profit opportunities, right? Like I said, when you adopt a circular model, it helps with innovation. And when innovation comes into play, it creates new value propositions. When you create new value propositions, you have new products and you have new services. And when you have new products and services, that means you have a product or service that can provide that can help with a need that customers want. So what that means is that when you employ this kind of system, it helps you generate better, so innovative that ordinary things, business concepts or business products or business services that ordinary your mind would not go towards them. You find yourself thinking about them because it's an existing problem. It's something that's in your face, and you turn from looking at it as waste to an opportunity. So in your mindset, it switches from how do I transform this waste into, in fact, as a business owner or as an entrepreneur, in fact, you start moving around from factory to factory and start asking them, okay, so how much waste or what waste product do you have? Let me take it off your hands so that I can be able to train it and convert it into value. And that's where you see, already you can see, just imagine how many youths can achieve that. Go around finding out how many companies have so much waste and how they can go ahead and transform that waste, right, into profit opportunities. Okay. Now, what else does this do, right? In terms of it reduces the volatility and greater security of supply, right? There's so much volatility because of scarce resources. And I gave that example earlier on about how you even find out that most of the conflicts that we find that are happening around us is because of scarce resources. You see, even unfortunately, even when you find instances where it is assumed that the conflict is based on religion or something, you find that at the end of the day, it's because of scarce resources, right? People are trying to get their hands and control those scarce resources. So you can imagine a society, you can imagine a world where we have little of these things because people can continue to create value from even their waste. So there's no need for you to depend on where it came out from originally or where it is of little supply, right? So in terms of improved customer interaction and loyalty, how will your customers feel if they know that you as a business is not just concerned about making profit, not just concerned about customer service or what we call or assume to be basic customer service, but it's also concerned about how the quality of life of its customers, because that's what it means. That's what it translates to as a business. When you employ a circular model in your business, it translates into that, yes, you clearly know that as you continue to ensure that you cut out pollution and waste, what does that translate to? It clearly translates to you producing better valuable products, as well as ensuring that even the people you create the products for have a better form of life, have a better, they can live in a system where there's less pollution, right? And they ensure that even while you're creating products, you are emitting less pollution. Even while you're creating products that they need, you're taking less and less from the planet. That is a win-win in my own eyes. And finally, new demand for business services, right? Once you employ this model, any country or any system employs this model sees that there are new demand for business because new businesses come into play, new services come into play, right? So think about collection and reverse logistics companies that support end-to-end use products being reintroduced into the system, right? Think about so many different things. Think about parts and components manufacturing or remanufacturing, right? So even when you go to for those that are familiar with Lagos or any place where you know that there's large a lot of large spare parts, or there's a large congregation of mechanics. Just imagine if you're in that place and you find out that all the waste in terms of spare parts are there that are assumed to be older and disposed of. They can be remanufactured and they become useful again. Okay, so I think in terms of it's in terms of shifting the mindset. In terms of economic wise, it has to be a deliberate approach, and that goes down to big manufacturing companies as well as down to smaller businesses and down to people like me and you. Ask yourself this question as a business owner going forward: how do I ensure, and some things cannot be achieved immediately or today. I'm clear about that, shortest possible time. How can you ensure that you can inculcate this model into your business to ensure that it does what? Help you innovate more, help you create better products and services, helps you create more revenue streams, help you employ more, and help you ensure that the planet in which we live on as human beings is better off at the end of the day. I can't think of a better win-win. And why now? It's imperative that we jump onto this as quickly as possible. As I mentioned, bigger companies are already jumping into it. Their economies, they're already looking at that model. So they might not be able to do it across board, but in places where they can do it, they are doing it. Just think about renewable energy, what it will mean to the planet. Think about renewable resources. Think about what it will mean to the planet. It will cost less. It will help you create more value. It's a win-win for the planet. It's a win-win for businesses. It's a win-win for countries, right? So my appeal, right, is for all of us as businesses going forward, because I always believe it starts from the mindset, right? If your mindset changes and you begin to see waste as value, then that means that you create a system where it can ensure that every waste you see, you have a system where you help it, or you move it from waste into something that is of value, right? So either you process it and you sell it, either you process it into another product, can be utilized in a better way. But once that mindset happens, I think as business owners, as a country, and as a planet, we all benefit. So thank you. I know we're quite short of time, but I'm sure we do have time for a few questions. But thank you. I hope I know this has been very short, but I hope it has helped us clarify maybe a couple of things that we're not sure about this model, and maybe how we should go about implementing it as business owners. So please, questions, if you do have questions, now will be the time. Now will be the time to ask your questions if you do have any at all. So WeCycle says yes. Okay, so I guess that's a response to whether you can hear me or not. Okay, so Daniel asks, please, can we get the slides? I'm sure Adamu would definitely let you know about getting the slides, but I'm glad you find it interesting. I'm sure Adamu will do something about it, so let me not preempt him. So thank you, Daniel. So please, Daniel, e-chocolate for you all round, and please let me know what kind of e-chocolate you want. Do you want white ones, or do you want dark chocolate? So African Creative too, thank you. So African Creative too wants to find out if D can get the slides. So Mr. Adamu, do you want to respond? Are they getting the slides? Or please, if you do have questions, now is the time.
Yeah, absolutely. You can get the slides. That's not a problem.
Oh,
so you can ask your
brilliant.
questions for another 2-3 minutes, and then we'll round.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for your response. Mr. Shaya says it was an interesting discourse. Thanks for the great presentation. Thank you so much. I always believe that it's all about mindset change. There's so much opportunities and everything. And when Mr. Adamu when we had the discussion about this topic, I was so excited. I felt lucky that he picked me to talk about this topic. It's something that I'm not in the waste recycling business, but it's something I don't walk around anywhere and see waste and not see how can we improve on this. Okay, so Mr. Daniel said, would you be open to discuss possible circular economy ideas? If you do, can we get your LinkedIn or email to reach out to you? Absolutely, with the permission of Adamu, I'll type my email here if that's fine. I will just type my email
Absolutely,
address
that's
here.
fine, Brian. You can share with them all the information they need. I think it's for the benefit of the world. You know?
All right, so thank you. Okay, so that's my email right there. And you can just type Ibrahim Buanhot on LinkedIn, and I'm sure you see this handsome face. So okay, so that's it. So yeah, you check on LinkedIn, and you can always send me an email. But thank you for your time. I hope that we have been able to benefit a few things today. But more importantly, implement. Getting information or new information is important, but implementing it as soon as possible is more important, right? So think about it in your way. If you start today, in the next 5 years, you'll be a business leader in the circular model. So just imagine that in the 5 years from now, you'll be among the very few people that are moving this business model forward. So thank you so much, and thank you, everyone.
All righty, Brian, we can't thank you enough. Thank you for taking this on, and we hope to have you here some other time as well if we do need your services. Thank you, Brian. Bye-bye.
Yes, I'll be happy. All right. So thank you, everyone. Have a great day and enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Thank you. Thank you, Yomi. Thank you, Adijoke. Thank you. Thank you, Adamu. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
We have, I think, ran through more than 3/4 of our period today, and we just have one more session to run, and that would be the mentorship session, which would be led by the CEO of Nigeria Climate Innovation Center, Bankole Oloruntoba. Please try to listen as much as you can, because it's going to walk you through what it takes to be an entrepreneur, irrespective of your space. He is well experienced in this, so I think it should be a very insightful session. So just keep your ears on the ground and learn as much as you can and be inspired. Bankole, the floor is yours. Hello, Bankole, are you there? The floor is yours.
Hello.
Hello.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you good, but you're echoing.
So what I did was I had to go out of one to be able to speak in the other. Is anybody hearing me now?
We can.
You can hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yes,
good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Good
Yes,
afternoon.
Good
afternoon.
Is it clear enough?
Very clear.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to this session. I've been following up with what has been happening, and I've been hearing, very good things. Ibrahim is a very fantastic, business coach to help you understand what your business like and everything. But for us at the NCIC, what we're really keen at is to see how we can open up this whole economy of creativity and as well as innovation to be able to solve climate challenges. And there's no better time right now than all of you doing this here at the same time. I think this is the first of its kind currently happening in Nigeria, and tying this to businesses makes it shows it that it's a bit more tangible than what you have from other sectors, particularly from the tech sector. I think that whatever we're doing now is going to be a game changer. I needed to have as much open mind as possible, which when we had meetings, in the past, what we told the businesses is that we need them to be as much open-minded as possible to be able to assimilate the kinds of ideas and innovations that you have. And that's because it's not like we expect you to have all the answers, but whatever answer that you have based on the experiences that you've gathered over the years can help them open up to more possibilities within their businesses. this is a very fun, beautiful time to be doing this, particularly around the world. These are the new ideas, these are the new technologies, these are the opportunities that are opening up for lots of innovators in different places. Either you're an engineer or you're not an engineer, or as long as you understand the processes on how you can solve the challenges, within this within the circular space, then you have that possibility of creating a whole new business channel and business chain entirely. Now, even if you do not come out to be the ones that will work with the companies at the end, understand that this is a competition. It doesn't mean it is the end of the world, or it doesn't mean that you are not good at what you do. It might just mean that the kind of solution that they're looking for at that moment, they found it with someone else instead of with yours. But that doesn't mean that you still cannot find a possible way of working with the people that you have connected with over the years. For those who have been through our incubation program, which I can see quite a number here, is that you will know that one of the things we preach then is that between businesses, you should find how you can connect and how you can solve each other's problem and collaborate. So one of the things we see that don't happen mostly is that Nigerian innovators and co don't try and connect and innovate, right? Usually they just want to be the ones in charge. And there's no ecosystem that can grow that way without we collaborating. If you go to the different valleys or wherever you call them, either Silicon or whatsoever, or this park or that park, that innovation center, you'll find out that the stronger ones are the ones that look for businesses that can connect with each of the businesses that they have before they can take on that business. So you guys, if two of you should collaborate to produce a particular solution, you can get more customers, right? Because again, 10% of $1 million company is better than 100% of $1 million company. Just think about it, right? So you might either just want to play local, or you really want to just be part of the value chain and open up a whole new market for yourself. Now, it's not like it's going to be an easy fit, right? But then it means that whatever knowledge that you have gathered, you have a chance to share and also to put some money on it. Because you need to, one of the things we also help you understand is the business model around the innovation that you're going to be, preferring, right? So either you want it to stand out as a business on its own, or you want it to stand as a product for the company that you're providing it to. Either way, we have to also help you understand how the business model is going to be like, in the scheme of things. I think that the NCIC is always open for you, to be able to ask questions. And the moment you are able to do this, that means that you are automatically within our pool of businesses that we can always recommend or share out there. The way this process is going to go is not just about the solution that you will provide, and it's also around the teamwork and how you coordinate and how you take yourselves from the first level of engagement, with the businesses till the last. Now, that we say you should comport yourself does not mean that we say you should be quiet or meek. No, it means that you should be able to ask questions and open things up, right? And so don't look at it like your typical Nigerian classroom where you are not allowed to ask questions. Understand that the people that you're working with also have a work culture where questions are allowed to be asked, right? And there's anything with Dutch companies, whether it is Dutch Nigerian or Nigerian Dutch, as long as there's a Dutch process involved, is that they ask a lot of questions. And so don't be afraid to ask as much questions as you can while at the cost of engaging with the businesses. Don't be afraid to ask yourself questions. In this rule of innovation, there's no hard and fast rule. There's no right one, there's no wrong one. Depending on the one that you can explore to the most to get the best out of it. So I need you to be as open-minded to understand how the companies work. Every company has got a process. And you as an innovator, you don't like processes. But either way you like it, process has to make sure things happen and can stay in shape, right? So we need you to also learn as much as you can learn from those companies when it comes to things like processing, processes, procedures, strategy, even engagement, which will help, which will definitely help you, somewhere down the line. Many of these businesses have been in, they've been in businesses for over 20 to 30 to 50 years. Like Nigeria Brewery is as old as Nigeria itself. Name them all. They all have. Farm Fort is a company that you really need to pay attention to because Farm Fort is very creative, in solving solutions. Scattering has been there right from day one. Also, they have a long history of innovation. NGN, they are your new bunch of creating a new value chain of feeds, right? So you have a different group of people to learn from. And so you knowing that you have a solution does not mean that you have all the answers. Anybody that think they have all the answers, they should actually be certified to Yaba left. I'm sure they were in Yaba. So you cannot have all that room, all that knowledge. So you always have to ask yourself, what are the possibilities and what can you learn from this new group of people? So from my own ends here, what I would say is that I'd like to thank you all for achieving, for being part of this. And I think that every single thing that you do, you should look at it from that you can solve, and so that we can find a way to create a whole better and bigger market for this thing. All right. Do you have any questions you'd like to ask me? Hello? Questions, anyone?
Can I say something, sir?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Bankole. You've actually answered most of my questions because based on some of the problems we were supposed to solve, I have a lot of questions. And actually, when this whole thing started, when I saw my group, I was personally kind of disappointed. I felt like I should bolt out, but something just told me, be open-minded about this. You don't know where this will lead to. So I really appreciate what you just said. It's actually strengthening my resolve about this program, and I do hope WISCON will be of help. Thank you very much for that, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bankole.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bankole. Hello?
Yeah, you were saying something.
Thank you so very much for this beautiful program. We've been learning so much since, and I just wanted to ask that the solution that we're expected to work towards, is it what format? What format is it going to be? Is it hello? Yes, I said the solution.
Format. I think Adamu should have been able to answer that question for you on how format is going to look like. So you can double check with Adamu on how the format of the engagement is going to look like. But it's a hackathon. And so hackathon, there'll be a lot of engagement, a lot of questions. People will be put in teams, and that team will have to find the solution that they have, as a group, for the businesses that we're dealing with. But I will ask you to double back check with Adamu on how this process is going to be like. All right?
I'll talk about the process with you guys at the end of Bankole's session.
Okay, any more questions? So Adamu will talk, we'll talk to the group. I think there's a group that you have, right? Adamu will help you share knowledge on how this will work. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
All right, great.
Okay.
Any more questions? Hello? Any more questions? Hello? Any questions from anyone? Okay, so I can see that everything sounds to be clear enough for almost everybody. So what I will say is, as an innovator that you are, please know that there are a lot of opportunities after this. This is an experience nobody can take away from you. This is a possibility that can always create a whole new market for you. And I really want to thank you all for joining and to be part of this. If I begin to call names now, it will be as if I'm doing APC or PDP moves. So I'm not going to call name. But there are quite a number of people that I've seen here that people have reached out to us to say that they are proud to see that they are joining this program. So you should know that you're not the only ones that people are looking, you're not the only ones looking up to people. There are quite a number of people who are also proud that you're part of this, from the different cities where you're from the different, ecosystems where you've played. There are a number of people who are reaching out to us from every top level that you can think of, saying that they are proud to see their persons playing here. And so know that you're not playing small. No matter how this works out, you did not play small, not in any way, right? You have created a whole new network of opportunities for yourself, right? And you have access to enter that network and to create a whole new market also for yourself. For the NCIC, we are doing every crazy thing we can do to see that the kind of resources needed to scale this, to scale this economy, we can get it. So some of these resources is even beyond money. Sometimes it's around policy, is around laws, is around opportunities and relationship. So the more we create these things, because look, you can have all the money in the world, as long as you don't even have access to do something, that your money is wasted. Which is why you see plenty politicians or plenty rich people want to go into politics so that they can have access. So you should know that money is not the only thing here to help you scale. Access also helps you scale. So what we're doing from our side is to create that access while we begin to show the kinds of possibilities that are that are happening here. And very soon also we will kick off back our green innovation talks. And I look forward to having a conversation with almost all of you, for the ones that will be available, on how your experiences were and how you've been able to build your products afterwards. Please note that the fact that you did not win this does not mean that your product does not make sense. It is just another opportunity, right? And so what you need to do is to soak in as much knowledge you can soak in, so that when you go and talk to the people you need to talk to, right? After you've left here, you have a whole new knowledge in your head already. And so this is not the end of the world, right? This is just one of those opportunities that just come up. So take what you can learn and then go out and do much more. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. It was nice hanging around with you, and I look forward to connecting with you more as the process goes on. I would like to do a few more mentorship as this program goes on. So keep having as much questions as you can have while you're having your different innovation meetings. And even if you want to bounce an idea that your team wants to bounce around with me, come and let's bounce the idea together. You can quickly ask Adamu to schedule a particular day or time with me. 30 minutes, 1 hour, I'm sure we can crack out some of the ideas that you have. Okay? So you don't have all the answers, I don't have all the answers, but if we put heads together, we might just have a very good answer. All right? Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. I will see you in a few more days to see how you're doing. Right? Okay. Ciao, ciao. Thank you.
You.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right, I'm back again. The face has been saying since morning. I hope you're not tired of seeing my face. So I think I would like to use the remaining time that we have to answer all your questions, all your queries, and all your uncertainties about this particular program, because I still have the sense that some of us are not pretty clear on how it's going to work. And that's why I sent you the Q&A, to sheet, so that you could have, a very good, sensible, what makes sense out of the program itself. So I want you to understand that the program itself has already started. That is one, right? So we decided to start with a training session, which we all started today, just like a refresher. This is more like a refresher, just to get you geared up, right? Now, after this training session, I expect you to start working on your challenges. I'm saying this because by now, I want to believe that we've all been shared into teams and you know the companies that you represent. So let me use African Creative Hub as an example. So African Creative Hub, could you unmute your mic? Let's just talk a bit. Which company do you represent? Unmute your mic.
Okay, yes, I'm here.
Which company do you represent?
ACSSH, Heineken.
Okay, Heineken, right? Now, yeah. Heineken has, I think, 2 challenges, right? Yeah, so I think they have a challenge for alternative source of energy, exactly, and probably another recycling, solution to their
PET packaging.
Exactly. Yeah, so you can choose. I want to advise that you choose just one challenge, all right? Okay. Even if the company has 5, 6 challenges, just focus your energy and resources on one challenge. Okay. And please, let me just inform the House, I'm not just talking to African Creative Hub, I'm talking to everyone. This applies to everyone, okay? So you choose just one challenge direct all your energy and all your resources to finding solutions to that particular, challenge. Now, for example, when I say you're going to work in teams, you're going to work with your own company team or with your own venture team. For example, Africa Creative Hub is together with her teammate. So both of them will probably work on, the pet bottle, challenge, or the alternative energy challenge of Heineken, anyone they so choose. You have the freedom to choose, okay? But for the purpose of this hackathon, the face that has registered for the hackathon and that was selected is the face of Jumake, am I right? Is that your name? Yeah, yes, fine. But you might have Deji, Femi, Kemi, and all the other teammates that you have. But at the end of the day, you are the one, representing your company, and you have a team. So your venture team, which is Africa Creative Hub, will sit down together and crack and hack all that you can to create a solution that you so choose from Team Heineken. So that's the way it works, all right? Now, once you have your solutions, okay, you put them up, on a slide, on a PPT slide, okay? That, you can actually pitch in about 3 minutes or so, because that is going to happen on the 15th of February, okay? Which would be the elimination round. I hate to call it that, but unfortunately, some of us will have to leave the hackathon, okay? Because we'll be left with just 4 at the end of the day, all right? Because, there are 4 teams. So the best solution from every team will be the one that would be left in that team. So we'll have 4 because there are 4 companies, right? So the best solution from Team Heineken will remain. The best solution from Team NGN will remain. The best solution from Farm Forte and Scritton would remain. So we would have just 4, all right? So it's kind of competitive, I agree. But as Bankole has said, I don't like to call it a competition, all right? For you to be selected, really, out of a pool of about 250 applications, honestly, you're good enough. But unfortunately, we can't just have everyone for the purpose of this, particular hackathon in terms of winners and all of that, okay? So that is just the basics of it. You know your company, you look at your company, even if your company has only one challenge, all right? You work on that one challenge with your team, right? The other members of your team will also work with their own teams, all right? And that's the way it works. So at the end of the day, when you pitch, okay, the best solution will be chosen. And remember, your judges are going to be the companies that you will present, not NCIC, so not some other person externally. So for Heineken, members of Heineken will be the ones that would actually judge your solution because they have the problems and they understand the problems better than me, all right? So I hope I'm making sense and there's a lot of clarity from what I've said, right? Okay, good. In Kena Amadi, I can see your hands up, all right?
Yeah, so I had a question regarding conversations with the actual companies themselves. So I know they did out their challenges, but I think it's quite on the generic side. Is it possible to have like a conversation with them or even by an email where they're more specific about their challenges and what they're trying to do? So that way we can actually tailor our pitch models to the actual businesses rather than having like a general challenge in some sense. So in terms of what I'm asking for is a more specific use case of what they're actually looking for, so that way we can actually tailor our business pitches to the actual business problems.
Okay, so we actually put that into consideration during the design of the program. I catch your drift, Ken. But I think at the end of the day, even though the challenges might sound kind of too cliche or too generic, as you said, it's more of seeing how you can use, your level of creativity to basically, come up with solutions surrounding what you think, can actually cater for that generic challenge. You might think it's generic, but honestly, if you're creative enough, it could be understood that, okay, you're trying to drive your solution towards a particular niche within that challenge. So that is fine, and that is something we can also consider. I know in terms of specifics, you might want to see things like, okay, in terms of alternative energy, can you find us some sort of biomass, solution? Just for example, I'm just saying, But if you say you need an alternative energy source, to drive your operations, it could be anything. So it gives you the liberty to actually, explore your ability. So that's why we just made it look that way. So just make the best use of your understanding for what the challenge is and create a solution for it. I hope I've answered your question, Ken.
Yeah, and that's the first one. So the second one I wanted to ask was regarding the final pitch on the last day. But the first pitch you did mention it was 3 minutes, but the second one you didn't mention any time frame for that.
Yeah, same thing. If there are changes, we'll let you know, all right?
Okay.
Yeah, because I think with the email that I sent in a bracket, I just simply wrote, if there are changes, we'll let you know. But these are not changes that would alter what you're doing or distract you in any way. I just want to believe 3 minutes is enough for you to actually convince me on a solution for my problem. It might not be cast in stone, but I would know if you are actually on the same wave with me in terms of finding a solution for my problem.
Okay, that's perfect.
Right?
Thank you.
All right. Daniel?
Thank you. Personally, I think I would like to add to what the last speaker said, because I'll be more specific. Frankly speaking, the problems are generic. And generic in the sense that it's something that could be applied to other companies or perhaps specific. Because at the end of the day, for instance, I'm under the team FarmFort, and one of the problems has to do with food waste of meat from their scrap and what have you. Now, for me, technically, if I were one of the technicians, I would say, okay, can we put this together and turn it into sausage? Fine. Or perhaps we can look for an agricultural firm who are into maybe, I think, what is it, dog feed or chicken feed or what have you. We sell it to them, and that solves our problem. For me, so we need more. If that's the kind of solution they are looking for, I think they won't really need us to come in there, because it looks a little bit straightforward. Just look for a buyer for some of these things, and you're good to go. So we need some specific, because like for me, we're a technology firm. So we are looking for those problems that we can actually fit and technology can actually help them solve. And that is where my problem lies, and I believe the same applies to a lot of other startups here. So that's question one. So maybe you can attend to that.
So while you were talking, I was seriously smiling from the inside. The reason is because, no, I'm not trying to mock your feedback. As I told you, we had over 250 applications, and you would be amazed by the quality of applications that came in that were really bad. All right? So you're a smart guy, you're thinking smart, and you think the challenges aren't really challenges to you. But really, there are challenges to other people. No, it's true. That's just the truth, right? So that's why I said, for you to be selected here, honestly, the hackathon could just look like some kind of walk in the park for you, all right? So generic, yes, in a way, but technically we're saying no, all right? Because we know what we went through, to trim, the application pool from about 270 to about 20 good ones. So, I mean, just do the math, 270 minus 20. I mean, just about 250, we're not just good enough, all right? So don't look at it from that generic point of view. You're a technology firm, use all the technology that you know to find, the right solution that will blow our minds, all right? On the 15th. And remember, okay, you said something important, which we said during the webinar launch, right? That's because you're in Team Heineken, it doesn't mean that NGN will not be interested in the solution that you're providing.
Whoa, I didn't get that.
So it's actually interwoven, because you have a lot of waste challenges. If you notice, most of the challenges are interrelated. So these are all Dutch companies resident in Nigeria, and they decided to partner amongst themselves to organize this hackathon, being powered by the Dutch consulate here in Lagos, all right? So unfortunately, we did not have a session like this before, the hackathon started, but I just know that somehow along the way, we will get this message across to you. So this is very important to these companies, no matter how generic you think these problems are, but there are things they can do by themselves. But why can't they empower, young Nigerian entrepreneurs who somehow, some way could be contracted to work with them by employing their solution? When a company needs hackers to hack solutions, it doesn't mean they don't have smart people to hack their generic problems, as you have all termed it. So that's the reason why I was smiling while you were talking, because you were actually answering the questions for me. And I'm happy you're thinking in that line, because we're also thinking in that line, all right?
Okay. Please, can I add to what you said? Because you've technically answered my second question. Because I was thinking that, okay, what if you are more suited for another firm where you have your solution, perhaps what you have on ground or what you're thinking fits some other firm? So does that mean you can concentrate on that? And even though you're in some other firm, does that work?
No, just work on the solution for the companies that you represent for the hackathon. After the hackathon, you could be contacted by one of the companies that you did not even work for during the hackathon, right? Because they feel your solution is viable and it works for them, all right? But for now, just to make it organized, we decided to use your strengths and your area of expertise and tag you to a company that we think you kind of like are a best fit for them in terms of finding solutions to their second problem. So thank you, Daniel. Chodu, your hands are up.
Sorry, Adam, can I
thanks. You're welcome, Kenna.
You're saying. So I don't think the challenge is itself as general. I think that it's actual question. So I'll give you an example. So I'm on the team Scretin, and one of their challenges is that they want to basically find a way in which they can reduce their electricity, how much they spend on electricity yearly, right?
Yes.
But I don't actually know how much they actually spend on electricity yearly. What exactly is their actual challenge? So in a way, I don't really know how to tailor my pitch to really say, okay, this is how much you can actually save from my solution. I don't know that you get that. Being specific about your actual problem and how I'm solving it, and by how much am I really solving that problem. I don't know that you're getting that in terms of the specificity I'm talking about.
I totally feel you inside out very well. I can see that probably you love working with numbers and you're very analytical. So that helps you, to drive, your evaluations and your methodologies behind, solutions that, you want to provide as far as your business is concerned. But I'm still going to lean back, partly to what I said ab initio, that you have to read what the challenge is. It's pretty simple to understand. They're looking for some sort of way to reduce their current spend on the source of energy that powers their operations. So if you don't have the numbers at the moment, what you can do is to create some sort of efficiency model, okay, that brings down, that is cost effective. Okay, so you not knowing what that particular challenge is in specifics, all right, does not mean that you can't prefer a solution. Preferring a solution, really, whether it solves that problem in reality for them or not, is the quality and content of what you put together, which they can make use of and to tweak, all right? And at the end of the day, they have a solution to a problem. But it cannot be as technical as you're trying to break it down. So if I'm going to apologize, I'll say, okay, I'm sorry if you think the specifics are not there, but there's actually a challenge. If I tell you I'm spending so much on my business operations at the moment, so in terms of what powers my operations, energy-wise, what is it you can do as a secular person to look at my business and what I do to help me reduce that? So you just have to be as creative as possible with the smallest and tiniest information that you have to create, a solution. Might not be fair, you could say that, but I think it's still part of the challenge for you to, actually drill yourself down to get a solution to the problem. Kenna?
That
works?
Yeah, that works. Fine. Thank you.
All right, Kenna, thank you. Yeah, Chodu.
Yeah, thank you. I have two questions. The first is, can you hear me clearly?
Very well.
All
and
right,
I see you good
great.
too.
All right, thanks. So the first question is, so a company that is hoping to use tech to solve some of these problems, for the pitch next week, would we be expected to present like a demo of that application, for example, or would it be enough for the pitch, just mention the features you're hoping that this tech application could use?
For me, if I'm an entrepreneur and I'm pitching virtually, of course, I think I would like to have my slides, right? You just have 3 minutes, okay? If you had like 10 minutes, you could have a fantastic idea upstairs, but your inability to actually deliver your solution and hit the nail on the head and drive your points home might not be there, and that would actually, affect your score and all of that. And we don't want that to happen. You guys are smart guys. I know you have smart ideas upstairs, and we really want you to blow our minds. So rehearse your pitch decks very well. Know what to see on every slide. Make sure you're just driving your point home, and do away with what will take time. Don't tell stories that are not relevant. You know the problem. Just create the solution. Talk about the solution and talk about how the solution would impact that problem, and just kill them right away. Just go for the slaughter.
All right, great, thanks. The second question, maybe I'm referring to something you may have clarified, and maybe I didn't catch it clearly. I'm sorry if that's the case. The second question is, so Mr. Olorun Toba said we could ask a lot of questions. So who are we going to ask these questions? Are we going to get like contacts for these companies?
We made sure that part of the hackathon, that's why I sent you the program schedule. And I'm not sure if you all opened those attachments. There are just too many of them, about 8 or so, yeah? So there's a program schedule there, and on Thursday, on every Thursday of the 2 weeks, so that's twice, you're going to have, these break sessions, all right, with the participating companies. And each participating company has a contact person, all right? So that contact person, will have a break room session with each of the companies that we represent. So for you are in team what? What team are you in?
Team NGN, please.
Team NGN. All right. So the contact for team NGN would be in the same, breakout session with you, and we're talking to the other guys in your team as well, so that you can have that one-on-one engagement with them. All right. For me, I'm your anchor from the outside that you can relate to this way. We're going to put up a WhatsApp group. It's temporary. I know most of you might have too many groups on your phone and you don't want more, but it's just for the purpose of this hackathon, all right? So we're going to have a WhatsApp group that, you could ask me questions, and many questions around this, I can answer them. You don't even have to think of, contacting, any of your contacts and the other companies and all that, because they know you're solving solutions for them, and, they really want you to do that really on your own, without their interference. So I'm like a liaison, from the outside that you could talk to at any time, and via the WhatsApp group, and I would always, respond. At 1 a.m., 2 a.m., I'm like a call center. It's okay, it's fine, it's my job, yeah? So just hit me up, yeah.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, welcome. Fola Shade, I see you.
Thank you very much, Adamu. Yeah, so my question is in relation to the second question Chinedu asked. So for Thursday, we have only 30-minute section. Is that meant to be 30 minutes for the breakout session? Because personally, other people have been asking for like having more insight into the group of the business we are working with might really help. I agree with that as well. So I feel that like that 30 minutes really looks small. And if you are staying according to time, extending that might be a challenge. So I would like to know if it's actually 30 minutes or it's meant to be longer.
We actually did not put together the program schedule to be cast in stone, right?
Okay.
Reality checks come into place, of course, when you're doing virtual program. If you're doing physical program, I'm sorry, thanks to COVID, I have to do this, like virtually, So I keep on saying that, all these time slots, all right, and the activities representing these time slots could actually, change. In fact, on the same program schedule, I stated that the pitching session would be 1 hour, 15 minutes. we're going to change that to about 2 hours. But that's not going to affect what you're going to do, but you still do it. So for the breakout session, we could at most do about 45 minutes. And this 45 minutes is not general. It's not, I don't mean 45 minutes for all the teams, like in five. I mean, look, every team would have a breakout session of 30 minutes to 45 minutes with their company, all right? So at the end of the day, technically, we're just still doing the 45 minutes. But, you know, you're having, you know, you're having a one-on-one, engagement experience with, you know, the contact person of that company. So if we think 30 minutes is actually, too strained, we could extend that to 45 minutes in agreement with the participating companies, right? So I don't really think that will be a problem. But we'll consider that, okay? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
GM?
Can I quickly ask a question, although not related to the pitch thing? But I just want to take us back a little. The BMC session, I will have, it was going on and it was very explanatory. Are we going to take that session again, or that's the end of it?
So again, I would like to refer you to your program schedule. Like, I'm sure you guys didn't read that up, but it's fine. So it's not like a classroom thing. Look, we want to give you time to actually hack these solutions. We're not gonna have classes every day. I mean, we're just having this training today. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you're having that breakout session. And really, the reason why I made it 30 minutes is for you to have time to continue your hacking, all right? Because if we load you with too many activities, you might never really have time to create those solutions, So next week, you're gonna have courses like there's gonna be strategy to resolve, and teaching exercises, things that will just help you, scale through, if you scale through the first round, okay? So these are strategic, designs that we employed into the program, right? So that is it. You can actually learn more about BMC on your own, really, you can, if you want.
I'm sorry, Adamo, please, let me just pop in. Will we be giving a template for the pitch? Because I know NCIC loves that, so I don't know.
No, we're not going to give you a template. For now, I really want that to be part of the challenge. Just design your deck in your own way, in the best way you believe is readable and translatable and appealing to the company you're presenting to, right?
Okay, so our pitch should be directed to a client, right?
Okay.
Our pitch should be directed to the company we are representing.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Right, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Sorry, I wanted to ask. Good afternoon, sir, and good afternoon, everybody. So I wanted to ask about tomorrow's challenge. Sorry, we kept going on and off our network. The Hack Your Challenge, what does it entail tomorrow? Are we going to attend a class like this? Sorry, I was not like the network kept going on and off.
Oh, I see. No, not at all. Where you see Hack Your Challenge, you're just going to work at home with your team to hack the challenge for the company. So on the 15th, you would pitch the solution for the challenge that you've picked up. So we're going to create a WhatsApp group. I said that earlier on, and I'll repeat it. So you can keep asking your questions, and I'll keep directing you so you can have a successful pitch, and as much as possible, see you through the program. All right?
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, do we have any more questions?
Yes, I think there's one Osquatek. I have something to say. It's a request, but let Osquatek kindly speak.
Yeah, Adamo. Sorry, please. I just want to ask. Is there a limitation to the number of slides?
Honestly, I really don't want to interfere on how you want to do your thing, but I just think if I have 3 minutes, I should be able to really use my wisdom to ensure that I don't do what would not be presented well within that limited time. So at the end of the day, just have a good presentation that you can present in 3 minutes that sound pretty convincing for every participating company, all right?
Okay, that means we could have a 1 slide, 2 slide, 3 slides like that, right?
Well, if your slide represents the solution for the company, I mean, it's fine because the companies will still ask you questions anyways. So.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, please, can I say something? Based on what has been said so far, for me, it will be very difficult if I would have preferred, is it possible we meet the representatives of this firm prior proper hacking? The reason is because personally, I feel I need to know what their current processes are. It will make it easier, narrow down how to actually solve their problem. Because what if, assume we are not meeting them now, and we go ahead and say, okay, let's try to provide solutions on the, like, I think maybe I'm talking because I think FarmForm had a lot of problems to solve. Maybe that's why I feel so overwhelmed. So if I can meet them, it's okay, what are their current processes for this and this? It's easier to be able to pinpoint how to actually solve their problem. Because right now, if we go generic and on Thursday we meet them, it might be like we are starting all over again based on the information we get. So can we meet them ahead of this?
So I can assure you all these questions you're asking were part of the program design from the very beginning. And I anticipated all these questions would pop up. And I'm enjoying this session because I wanted to have a separate one-on-one session with all of you. But since Bank Holiday finished on time, I don't think I would do that. We could continue the rest of the discussion on WhatsApp, okay? The reason why we had the participating companies speak about their companies on the webinar launch is just for you to have a feel of what they do. For the company that you represent, you can actually, I mean, the world is small today. Just go on Google them up, look at them, look at what they do. Businesses are pretty simple, not complex at all. And one is into this, it's into that So you have to accept it that way because that's the way we designed the program. And I believe that you guys would come up with a solution that, solutions, that will actually wow them. Don't think it through too much and don't beat yourself up too much, right? Just look at it from the point of view of the questions, or rather of the challenges it presented, perspective of how generic they look or seem. Use your expertise, use your areas of strength, and create a viable solution for these challenges. And I believe you guys can do it, right? When you begin to work with these companies one-on-one, all right, you can improve on your solutions, and that will actually improve the viability. I hear you, I catch your drift. I know what you're talking about. It's like you're consulting for a company that you don't even know anything about, all right? So the time frame is very small. This is just a hackathon, right? It's not a major contract, all right? You've not been contracted to do this, but we're trying to see how your secular talent, all right, in terms of what you do within that space, can actually bring value, to these companies. In any way, value has been considered. Believe me, if they were not serious about it, they wouldn't be I mean, there are many Dutch companies around that, but they decided to do this. All right. So this is Heineken, Nigerian brewers. I mean, they've been around for a long time. NGN, they've been doing great stuff in Nigeria. Skritin, Farm Forte, they're very big. So whatever thoughts you're having in your heads right now about knowing the nitty-gritty of their companies, what they do, what their operational processes are, and all of that, they've told you, okay, look, we have waste problems, waste, food leftovers, meat leftovers, that leftover, cashew nuts, this and that, like what can you do as a circular, entrepreneur to just create, a viable solution for my challenge. And no matter how generic you think your solution is, so long the content is sharp and it's viable and it's something they can use as a company, I mean, just try to be unique in your own, thought process and come up with, something, pretty sustainable. Your waste coin, when you were thinking about the app, You are not thinking of the operations of waste and how, you connect people together. You just believe it will work, right? So make this work. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so I think it's 10 minutes to leave all of you. If you have no questions, I'm going to leave you now, and we would ensure the WhatsApp group is created today and we can continue the conversation. Feel free to reach me at any time, please. All right. So once again, thank you very much for honoring this invitation and spending about 3 hours with my boring self in this session, but we hope to make this as exciting as possible as time goes. So I think on this note, I would say a big bye-bye to all of you. And remember, this was powered by the Dutch Consulate here in Lagos. And without them, this wouldn't have been possible in partnership with the Nigeria Climate Innovation Center, where I work as head of business development and innovation. So guys, once again, thank you very much. You guys are doing super things, and that's why I call you superpreneurs. So bye-bye, my superpreneurs. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Adamu. Bye.
Thank you, Adamu. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Adamu. Bye.
Thank you so much, Adamu. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.